You want a shot at $50,000 in cold, hard cash? Well, Bull Rush just dropped a new sports comp, the NFL Survivor. And the total prize pool, a massive $100,000. First place gets 50 grand, straight up. Think you got the picks to survive 20 weeks?
Join now at bullrush.com/ESPN.
You still have a hangover, Paul, from what happened with Alabama in the championship game. So you want to respond to me, or you want to cut me off? And I really don't care, Paul.
Yeah, no, I do want to respond to you.
No, you don't, but you respond. You respond right now and talk to me.
The Paul Feinbaum Show, weekdays at 3 Eastern on the ESPN app and on the SEC network.
Every Saturday morning, ACC Huddle is coming to you live from the marquee matchup of the week. Join the Huddle team as they count down to kickoff with in-depth analysis, exclusive interviews, and everything you need to know about ACC football. This guy is elite.
But to his 2-year-old son, who's interested in cars and colors, he makes perfect sense.
That's the sound cars make.
When you talk with your child, you build vocabulary, and learning starts long before school does. So follow their lead. Take simple everyday moments like eating dinner or just watching cars go by and turn them into learning moments.
Ooh, look, red car.
Yes, and it's moving awfully fast.
Blue car.
Yes, the man in the red car is about to meet the man in the blue car. Get himself a pretty pink ticket.
Turn everyday moments into learning moments. For more tips, go to bornlearning.org. Brought to you by United Way and the Ad Council.
Over there's the water. Whoosh, whoosh. And look at all this stuff I'm standing on. It's called sand, and it's everywhere.
This woman may sound silly to you and me.
It's made up of little tiny pieces of rocks. Teeny little pieces of rocks.
But to her 2-year-old son exploring the world around him, she makes perfect sense.
How does it feel when you touch the sand? Is it warm?
Uh-huh.
It's hard to hold in your hand, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Learning starts long before school does, and children are naturally curious. They want to learn, so follow their lead. Take simple everyday moments like sorting laundry or playing on the beach and turn them into learning moments.
Is this water?
No.
Very good. This is sand. Oh, no, it's not food. It's sand. We don't eat sand.
Turn everyday moments into learning moments. Find out how at bornlearning.org. Brought to you by United Way and the Ad Council.
Caregiving is tougher than tough. Find care guides at aarp.org/caregiving. Brought to you by AARP and the Ad Council.
Volunteer for Meals on Wheels by donating your lunch break at americaletsdolunch.org. Brought to you by Meals on Wheels America and the Ad Council.
From the Bull Rush ESPN studios. Learn more at bullrush.com/ESPN. W291CL Lakeside Richmond. WURV HD2 Richmond. We are 106.1 ESPN.
This is SportsCenter.
I'm Christine Lisi. Rams quarterback Matthew Stafford made his much-anticipated return to practice today. Took part in practice for the first time at camp. When asked for his confidence level in Stafford, who's been dealing with a back injury, being ready for the season opener, Coach Sean McVay replied he thinks that would be putting the cart way before the horse. As Coach Kevin Stefanski had been indicating, the Browns named Joe Flacco their starting quarterback for Week 1. ESPN NFL analyst Dan Orlovsky.
I understand it. I would have gone with one of the rookies if I was Cleveland. I kind of know who Joe is and what I'm going to get with Joe. He'll be a competitive and good football team. It doesn't answer anything of the future at that position for the Cleveland Browns, but at least they give them confidence that they have a capable player at that position.
The rookies, Dylan Gabriel, Shedeur Sanders, as well as Kenny Pickett, all vying for the backup job in Cleveland. Ohio State named Julian Sayin its starting quarterback for the August 30th season opener against Texas. In the opener of a doubleheader today from Chicago, Major League leading Brewers up 1-0 on the Cubs' top 3 on a Bryce Terang solo home run.
Your summer drink is here. Twisted Tea is a smooth, refreshing, hard iced tea with 5% alcohol, making it the perfect drink to take any day this summer to the next level. Twisted Tea Brewing Company, Cincinnati, Ohio. Please drink responsibly.
Check this out, y'all.
Audio level full volume. It's go time.
This is Border to Border with Matt Josephs.
He's super famous.
This guy's a fraud, a phony.
I respect women. I love women. I respect them so much that I completely stay away from them.
Matt, your manliness is overwhelming.
Sports.
Audio level full volume. It's go time.
Here's Matt Josephs on Richmond's 106.1 ESPN.
Good afternoon, everybody. Border to Border, 106.1 ESPN. Matt Josephs here.
on a Monday. Overcast Monday, but perfectly fine temperature-wise here on a Monday. More importantly, it is game week for the college football season. Week 0 is on Saturday. We've got 5 FBS games. We've got 4 FCS games. We finally made it, everyone. It was a long offseason filled with realignment garbage and playoff expansion garbage, which we'll certainly get to. All sorts of other garbage, but we now can cut through all of that garbage and get right to the games coming up on Saturday. Now, look, let's be honest. Nobody in this area necessarily outside of the nerds like me are that excited, although there are some very good games. Coming up at noon on Saturday out in Dublin, Ireland, it is Kansas State and Iowa State in a huge Big 12 game that has huge implications for the rest of the season. They are opening up overseas with a huge conference game. Then at 6:30, you've got Kansas and Fresno State. Then at 7, you've got Houston State and Western Kentucky. 7:30, the Hawaii game is at 7:30. Hawaii hosting Stanford, the ACC's first chance for a victory coming up on Saturday. And then the extra game at 4, UNLV and Idaho State. Will Anthony Colandrea be under center for the roller coaster that is the Anthony Colandrea experience out in Las Vegas? I could not think of a better person to accurately represent the up and down nature of playing slot machines and doing all sorts of stuff out in Las Vegas than the human slot machine himself, Anthony Colandrea, who apparently will be both playing, both Alex Orji and Anthony Colandrea. So UNLV using 2 quarterbacks this weekend. That is your FBS lineup for Saturday. We've made it. Oh, it feels so good. Saturday's FCS lineup, North Carolina Central Southern, Mercer, UC Davis, Tarleton State, Portland State, Incarnate Word, Nichols State. That is our 9 games of college football, and we'll give you some selections as we see them as the week goes along. But a lot to get into in the show today. It is also a game day for the Commanders. I mean, yeah, it is technically a game day. Washington players in Washington jerseys will show up, although also today, Jaden Daniels will play, although let's be honest, it's going to be a series or 2. It will not be more than 2. It will be 1 probably at the max. Cincinnati at Washington, the line tonight, Cincinnati minus 3.5 or minus 4. Once again, I'd like to tell everybody, please don't bet the game tonight. And usually you'd say, all right, well, there's maybe an advantage with the Bengals because the Bengals are playing Joe Burrow and T. Higgins and Jamar Chase. But as I said, the Commanders are also playing their starters the first series or 2, so there's really no advantage going on. But then it kind of drops off and goes downhill for both teams after that. So you've got football on tonight, 8 o'clock. I believe it's on ESPN tonight. It is the ESPN game. So we'll get into that. We'll get into a couple of other things as well. As I said, there's one ridiculous proposal over the weekend by the Big Ten that has like 97 playoff teams in college football. I know it's not that, but it feels like that. We'll certainly get into that. We'll talk about some other stuff as well. A couple of teams announcing their starting quarterbacks today, 1 pro, 1 college. So we'll get into that, but a lot to get into here on the show. 327-0888, that is the phone number. That is the text line. 804 is the area code. Before we get to the information, let me just tell you one more time. Coming up on Wednesday, Jack Fitzpatrick and I will be out at Draftcade in Short Pump from 6 until 7. We will be doing a live edition of Talkin' Dukes. So we're going to have hopefully some guests out there. We're going to have some questions from the audience, but we want to just have a lot of our listeners and a lot of the fans come out, enjoy the food, enjoy the drinks at Draftcade, and enjoy a very good show as we get set for JMU's opener against Weber State coming up on the 30th. That is Wednesday, 6 o'clock, Draftcade, Short Pump. Be there, please. We would certainly appreciate it. All right, so tonight's game has a little bit of intrigue. First off, there is no movement on Terry McLaurin other than he was activated off the PUP list. There were some people who got really excited, like, oh my God, he's activated off the PUP list. Could this be the end? No, it is not the end. It is not the end. There has been no movement with regards to the contract. The only thing this does is it makes it slightly easier for him to be able to this makes it slightly easier for him to be able to just go out there and practice. There are some who think that maybe this week later on he'll be out there to practice just to kind of get some get the juices going a little bit, get his chemistry going with the quarterback. This is one of those things where I don't think anybody really knows what's going to happen. There's a group of people who seem to think that, well, Terry's just going to play his contract out, and then who knows? Maybe he gets franchise tagged next year, and then, who knows what happens then. There are other people who think that despite this happening, nothing actually is going to happen. He's still not going to play. He's still looking for a contract. And this was just procedural for the Commanders, who clearly don't care about necessarily the roster space. Because by keeping him on the PUP list, you are allowed to actually have somebody else in his place. Now there's one less spot in the roster, but then again, the rosters are at 90, so it really doesn't necessarily make that much of a difference. But other than that, I've done my Twitter search. It is the usual. Everybody's saying, please pay Terry McLaurin, or the people who are like, please trade Terry McLaurin to us. And I was watching Kevin Sheehan's show again today, and they still think the team has all the leverage here because he's still under contract. I get it. I still understand that, but I also think he's got a lot of leverage because this offense is just not good without him. They're just not good without him. And so it'll be very interesting to see tonight what the drive 1 or 2 looks like for the Commanders. No Noah Brown, a couple of offensive linemen are out, which would make me worried about playing Jaden Daniels. But I said it last week, I said it last Friday, I would put him out there for a drive or two. Now, if he's under constant pressure, if he's running for his life back there, this would be a very short drive. It would be also a bunch of handoffs. But remember, no Trey Hendrickson tonight. Trey Hendrickson, it looks like the Bengals are trying to trade Trey Hendrickson, but they're asking for picks and players. We'll see if the Commanders are interested. But the other thing that came out over the weekend, which is not necessarily a surprise to me, was that the Commanders are trying to trade Brian Robinson. And to me, I like it. I've never been a Brian Robinson guy. I've said on this show, since he's been a Commander, he's just an ordinary running back. He's not great. He doesn't do anything really well. He doesn't catch the ball. He doesn't make people miss a lot. Last year, despite this is courtesy of Warren Sharp, who we had on last week, 2 weeks ago. They faced the 5th easiest running schedule of run defenses last year. He was 27 of 50 running backs in yards per carry at 4.3. He was 37th in explosive run rate, nerd stat. He was 35th in stuff rate, and he was 44th in terms of what percentage of rushes he had for 1 yard or fewer. 34% of his carries last year were for 1 yard or fewer. Now, look, I don't know necessarily what they're going to get for him. He's not playing tonight. He's on the final year of his deal, so he may want contract extension. I don't know what they're going to get for him. But the fact that it came out last night that Jordan Schultz said, and he was the first to say it, that Brian Robinson's being shopped, to me that makes sense. He's an ordinary running back. My thing is, if you are now going to ask Austin Eckler to do a lot more, a lot more, Austin Eckler, in my mind, is NFL old. He is NFL old. Now, it's different. He's 30. He turned 30 3 months ago. So he's not old, but he's NFL old. He had, in 2022, he had over 300 touches. In 2023, he had 230 touches. Last year, he was out for a couple games, and he had only 112 touches. If you're going to ask him to be a 10 to 15 carry a guy, I don't know if he's going to hold up in the end. Last year, he only did that twice. He had 11 carries against the Giants. He had 13 against the Steelers, and then he had 2 against the Eagles afterwards. And then he had 9 against Dallas before he got injured. And if you're also going to ask Bill Merritt, Bill Krosky Merritt, I still like to call him Jacory, but remember, we now have to call him Bill. If you're asking a 7th-round draft pick to do a lot of the heavy lifting, I mean, I know he's looked great, but once again, he's going up against his own defense, whose run defense is questionable, and he's going up against third stringers and second stringers. And I'm a Chris Rodriguez guy. I thought Chris Rodriguez was good in college at Kentucky. I think he's okay. But I don't know. I think this running back room is a giant ordinary room. That's all. Nobody special. Nobody great. Jordan, what do you think? I mean, I was not shocked when I heard the Brian Robinson stuff. I think he's just ordinary. I think he did nothing spectacular, and I'm not shocked. I just wonder what they're going to get for him.
Yeah, the whole running back room, even going back to last year, was not spectacular. I mean, you had Eckler get hurt. You had Robinson miss some time, very inconsistent when it came time to giving him the ball. And I think there is some frustration from the coaching staff there. And so, it does make sense that they would shop B-Rob around, especially because he's in a contract year, and they figure they could probably get another player to address any outstanding issues going into the season, whether it be a veteran receiver or a veteran tight end or something like that. I think it makes sense. I know that a lot of the fans hold Brian Robinson in high regard. I mean, obviously, the start to his career in Washington got off to a bit of a troublesome start, getting shot like he did. And, it's been a long road back. And, I think it's smart for Washington to consider their options, especially where they are right now with their running back game, with the run game and their running back room. And, I don't hate it, and I think it's probably, if they can get someone or a draft pick or other considerations out of it, then I don't see any issue with it.
I do find it funny for, once again, the team that has the oldest roster. They're getting rid of a 26-year-old. Now I get it. I get why they're doing it. It's just funny to me that you're now getting older, essentially. And here's the thing. So next year, they have their first, they have their third, they have their fifth, their sixth, and their seventh. They're probably not getting a fourth, and they're definitely not getting a second. So what I'm guessing is they're going to get, maybe a fifth or a sixth for him, or a player who may not make his respective teams. But, I'll be fascinated to see what they get for Brian Robinson, considering he's got one more year left in his deal. He's nothing spectacular, but he's on the younger side of things.
Yeah, and it'll be interesting to see how it plays out in terms of tonight. I know that there are...
He's not playing tonight.
Oh, okay. So
they just announced that.
Okay, so there you go. Then that is a signal from his camp that it seems like, the trade rumors are real, and they don't want to necessarily throw him out there to get him banged up in case, they do find a suitable trade partner.
Yeah, it's interesting because Cincinnati, they could be somebody who's interested potentially in a Brian Robinson. Cincinnati's running back room, not necessarily great with Chase Brown, and then they do have Samaje Perine, our good friend Samaje Perine, but they might be interested potentially. It's a running back room that's very young, to say the least. But look, I'm concerned about. Do you share the same concern? Like, Austin Eckler is not old. He's NFL old in that he has been used a lot in his career, and if we're asking him for 10 to 15 carries a game, I don't know if he can do that on an 17-game basis.
Yeah, I've heard a lot of the other reporters sort of comment similarly about that. Just how, it is going to be trial by committee throughout the course of the season because, like you said, Austin Eckler is NFL old. He's on the back end of his career. He's not going to be a guy that you can rely on to hand the ball off 20 times, upwards of 20 times a game. And that's never really been Washington's MO to begin with. But, we saw little sparkles from Chris Rodriguez a couple of times last season as well. And, as you mentioned, Bill Kroski-Merritt has been sort of the darling story coming out of training camp for the Commanders. And I think this is a good opportunity for him to make his case that, whether or not he gets to start week 1, I think he is proving himself to be a guy that if they want to switch things up for a various game or even for week 2, knowing that it's a short week in Green Bay, I think there's a case to be made for him to stick around and play a role in the running back room.
So they were discussing today on Kevin Sheehan's show, if this is the case, then Bill shouldn't really play tonight. I mean, now granted, Jaden's playing, so maybe he plays the first drive. But if they really want to go all in on Bill Krosky-Merritt, then he can't play tonight for very long because he's a very important person.
Yeah, that's crucial. I mean, I would be surprised if all the starters, I mean, even on the offensive line, there are 3/5 of the starting offensive line are not going to be playing tonight anyway. So, I think it's one of those things where, that, Eckler will probably get the majority of the reps, and then probably after the starters come out. So we may see Krosky-Merritt with the first teamers, with Jaden Daniels, at least for that first series. And then if the starters come out for a second series, then you may see, the rotation start to come into play. And we know Austin Eckler, he can catch passes out of the backfield. He can block. They have multiple uses for him. So it's not like they are going to shift him down the packing order. I think it's more, hey, our run game last year was very lackluster, and we have some younger guys. We have at least one young guy who has proven himself that he can get it done depending on the week. And then, just kind of find a way to sort it out from there.
Who else are you watching tonight? I am certainly, look, let me be honest here. You're getting the ones versus the ones, it seems like. I need Marshawn Lattimore to show up tonight.
Yeah, this is gonna be the big test for this defense. I mean, the Bengals, Joe Mixon, or not Joe Mixon, you have the wide receiver tandem of Joe Burrows and I'm drawing a blank on the name. The top wide receiver for the Bengals.
T. Higgins?
T. Higgins.
Jamar Chase?
Yeah, Jamar Chase. There we go. I couldn't remember it. But, that they throw the ball more often than anyone. I heard a stat. They pulled up the numbers from last year that Joe Burrow threw the ball 650 times last year. And then Jaden Daniels only threw the ball 440 or 450 something times. So that tells you a lot about, the style of play for these two teams, and that, at least for the first quarter, at least the first series, it's going to be a real nice test to see guys like Marshawn Lattimore, see if they can match up well with the stars on the Bengals. Especially as they try to make a case for themselves that they don't want to have a slow start like they did last year, because it ultimately cost them a playoff spot.
Yeah, this is where, the one series tells me at least gets them going. 2 series is okay. I guess 2 series isn't okay because that means the first series was bad. I just think that this is an offense that needs to get a little bit going, even though there's no Noah Brown, no Terry McLaurin, no Brandon Coleman, and no Sam Cosmi. I still think this is a group that needs to get out there. And I think the defense also, the corners, it would be nice if Trey Amos showed up. It would be nice if, they had some nice one-on-ones here between the Bengals wide receivers and the Commanders corners. Let's see if Marshawn Lattimore could stay penalty-free. Let's see if he could stay 15-yard penalty-free. And I look, it's going to be a drive or two. This will be one of those nights where I think you tune in the first couple drives, and then you're like, all right, I'm going to do my errands, and it's all in the background.
Yeah, definitely. And I, especially knowing that this is a short week for Washington, they have to turn around and play the Ravens on Saturday afternoon. And, history has shown us that most teams don't play their starters the final preseason game anyway. So, this will be sort of the one glimpse that we get of the starters and where they're at. And, it's tough because they don't have their top 2 wide receivers. And to your point, the offense is not working full throttle like it usually is without McLaurin and Noah Brown in there. And, it's going to be interesting to see how things shake up. I mean, because we're now getting to the point, and even Cliff Kingsbury has commented publicly his frustration sort of with this whole McLaurin situation, where it's like, okay, we're now 3 weeks from the start of the season. This is your final year of the contract. You're under contract. So we need to know, are you going to play or are you going to sit out? And, it hinges, a lot of this team's success hinges on whether or not we see Terry McLaurin at all, whether it be week 1, week 2, or week 3.
327-0888, phone number, text line, 804 is the area code if you want to comment on what you're looking for tonight with regards to this game in terms of, is there a backup guy, a bench guy that you want to see? You can certainly chime in. All right, let's take a timeout. Coming up, we have to talk about what came out over the weekend. Another idea, it's really stupid. The Big Ten is trying to ruin college football. We'll talk about that, because it's just something I have to get into as we get into week 0. It's coming up on Saturday, and the Big Ten is trying to ruin things by floating stupid ideas. So we'll get into that. We'll get to a couple of other things. As I said, a couple of quarterback decisions are out there. We'll throw that out there as well as we take you up until 4, 106.1 ESPN.
Tune into the ESPN Richmond Herman Allen Sports Play of the Day, presented exclusively by Herman Allen Plumbing and Cooling, your premier Lennox dealer.
Catch up on the latest horse racing news with Off to the Races live broadcast, 10 to 11 every Saturday morning on 106.1 ESPN. Presented by The Racing Biz.
Have you thought of enrolling in a City of Richmond Promise Pay payment plan but haven't done so yet? Promise Pay is the convenient and flexible payment option for past due gas and water balances. But changes are coming soon, beginning September 1st. All new payment plans will be eligible for a 12-month repayment term versus the current 36 months. So if you're in need of a longer time to repay, you're encouraged to enroll before September 1st. Don't delay, enroll today. To learn more, visit our website at www.rva.gov/public-utilities.
Vacation starts with VA. One thing you'll love about your trip to Virginia is that you'll never have to settle for one thing. All that you love is all in one trip. Start yours at virginia.org.
Your trash is treasure at CNC Colored Recycling. From copper wire to radiator ends, cans to lead batteries, CNC Colored Recycling will pay cash or check for your unwanted scrap metal. No load is too large or too small. Don't dump it, recycle it, and get paid at CNC Colored Recycling, just south of Maple Street on Route 1 in Ashland. Free local container service is available too. CNC Colored Recycling, open every weekday and a half day on Saturday. Check the latest cash scrap prices online right now at cccullet.com. That's CCCULLET.
Summertime in RVA means one thing. Golf season is here. If you're looking for the perfect golf course, head over to Queenfield Golf Club, located just a few minutes east of Mechanicsville. Queenfield offers a beautifully secluded 18-hole course, spacious driving range, and professionally maintained practice greens and bunkers. Schedule your tee time today by calling 804-769-8838 or reserve a spot online at queenfieldgolf.com and make Queenfield Golf Club your new favorite course.
Join Mark Patrick's seminars and lose the weight or stop smoking early bird special, $49.99. Seminars Thursday, August 21st, Comfort Suites at Virginia Center Commons, Glen Allen. Weight loss 5:30 p.m., stop smoking 8 p.m. Or Saturday, August 23rd, Hilton Garden Inn, Colonial Heights. Weight loss 11 a.m., stop smoking 2 p.m.
When your sink suddenly springs the leak, or the tub stops draining, or the toilet stops flushing, it's surprising. You know what shouldn't be surprising? The price you pay to fix it. That's why Robinson's Plumbing Service promises no surprise pricing. What they quote you is what you pay. With thoroughly background check technicians, Robinson's Plumbing Service is here when you need them, with no surprises, and they guarantee all labor and materials supplied by them for 2 years. Now hiring experienced service technicians. Robinson'sPlumbingService.com.
Big news. Mechanicsville Kia is opening this October, and we're hiring for all positions. Whether you're a seasoned pro or just starting out, if you value honesty, accountability, and exceptional service, we want you on our team. This is your chance to grow with a dealership built on integrity, teamwork, and a commitment to putting people first. Customers, employees, and our community. Apply today at mechanicsvillekia.com. That's mechanicsvillekia.com. Mechanicsville Kia. trust at every turn.
Stats optional. Opinions guaranteed. Matt Josephs brings you Border to Border, 3 to 4 on 106.1 ESPN Richmond, where Richmond talks sports.
Welcome back. 106.1 ESPN. Matt Josephs here. Take you up until 4. The Mashup Hour 4 until 5. Stick around during the Mashup Hour because if you remember last year, Bill Connolly of ESPN ranked all 730 football teams, I think it was, across all the levels of of college football. So all the levels from D1 to D7. I know there's not D7, but you know what I mean. And so he did it for the first time for the preseason. And so Bob and I will go over that list because there are some state schools that are very high and higher than teams in other levels. We'll tell you about that coming up in the 4 o'clock hour here on the show. But, you know, I'm enjoying my weekend. I'm starting my handicapping for week 0. I'm trying to figure out where I want to throw some money and all this fun stuff. And I see scrolling across my bottom line, Big Ten floating idea for 24 or 28 team playoff. And I just about, if I was drinking something, I would have spit it out like they do on TV. And listen, I get the urge for all these conferences to want to expand and for more inclusion. But having that many teams in the playoff would be disgusting. Like I'm not even going to like sugarcoat it. It would be terrible. In the 28-team model, the Big Ten and the SEC would get 7 automatic bids apiece. 7. The ACC and the Big 12 would get 5, 2 auto bids for the Power 4, for the Group of 5, and 2 at-larges. So let me tell you this. So last year, if we were going to do 5 ACC teams, I'm pulling up the standings now, we would have SMU, Clemson, Miami, Syracuse, and then probably Louisville or Duke. Let me tell you something. As a Syracuse fan, they didn't belong in the playoffs. They didn't belong in the playoffs. If you told me 7 SEC teams made it, Texas, Georgia, Tennessee, Alabama, LSU, South Carolina, Ole Miss, Missouri. That's 7. Because they would have taken 6 of them and then made another one in at-large. Like as I've said on this show time and time again, and I know I'm going to lose in this 16 thing. I know we're going to constantly change. We jumped to 8, which I thought was perfect. We're now at 12. We're going to get to 16. Like I'm done fighting it. But 24 or 28 would be the most ridiculous thing I've ever heard in my life. We can't even agree on how we want the 16 to go. And so when I see this 24 or 28 team, it eliminates conference title games. By basically giving the SEC and the Big Ten 7 teams apiece, why are we playing a regular season? Why are we even having regular season football? We know who those teams are going to be most likely. Last year it would have been Oregon, Indiana, Penn State, Ohio State, Illinois, Iowa, and that's it. That's 6. Iowa did not belong in the playoffs. Illinois, I don't think made that. No, they did make the playoffs. They didn't belong either. But like, let's be honest here. Why are we trying to ruin the best part of every sport? This would be like NASCAR doing 6 Daytonas. We all call the Daytona we all call the Daytona race the Super Bowl anyway. Let's just do 6 of them. Let's just spread it out and do it all over again 17 times. College football has the best playoff, and you know why it's the best playoff? Because they have a 12-game playoff, a.k.a. the regular season. You can lose 1 game. But once you start to lose 1 game, you can't really lose a second game. And so by doing this now, if we expand the playoffs to 24 or 28, we are now essentially allowing 3 or 4 lost teams in the playoffs. If you lose 4 times, you don't belong in the playoffs. Like, if you look at last year, and I'll say this again, I've said this on the show time and time again. Last year's Indiana team probably didn't deserve to make the playoffs because last year's Indiana team played 2 tough games and lost. And they nearly lost to a bad Michigan team last year, but they played at Ohio State. They had the easiest schedule. They essentially had a 11-game bye week. They won every game. And then they played at Ohio State. They had 2 weeks to prepare for that game, and they lost 38-15. If you're a really good team, you should win. You should beat other playoff teams. Now, they accounted for themselves all right at Notre Dame, but like they just didn't belong. I'll go to Penn State, and this is not just because I hate Penn State, which I do, but if you go to Penn State's schedule last year, Penn State played 2 tough teams. Ohio State. Oh, wait, for some reason, why is this coming back to Indiana? Everything on my screen is coming back to Indiana. But Penn State last year had the easiest schedule, and they lost every good game they had. And it's like, why are we allowing Penn State into the playoff? To me, you have to have beaten somebody to get into the playoff. Last year, Penn State lost to Ohio State and to Oregon in the championship game. Yeah, they beat Illinois. That's great. That was a home game. Super. They won at USC. It's not a great USC team. But, like, to me, if you're going to make the playoffs, you have to beat playoff-worthy teams. And if you don't beat any playoff-worthy teams, then you don't belong in the playoffs. And so now we're going to change college football, the best regular season in all of sports, and we're going to make it where essentially everybody gets in? Nobody wants this. Nobody. Nobody outside of those pompous SEC fans who think the world revolves around them. Like, if you guys want to do a 24-2018 playoff, go leave. Leave the NCAA. Big 10, SEC, ACC, Big 12, you guys want to do that? Like, leave. I don't think the ACC and the Big 12 want to do that. I'd like to think Jim Phillips is intelligent enough to know, Mr. I love college football. I want to do what's great for college football. I think he would say this is terrible for college football. So you know what? Big 10, SEC, just leave. Go start your own NCAA, whatever. I can't believe we're going to sit here. And I'm not one to overreact. I see little things and everybody's like, oh, this is the worst thing for the sport. Like, I don't this would be the worst thing for the sport. This would be it. And we'd still watch on Saturdays, and they'd still mean a lot. And obviously the group of 5 getting 2 bids, that's great. I love that. But why does a college football Saturday mean anything if you can lose 3 games and still get in the playoffs? I'm hoping this is just one of these things where, like, the Big Ten is just trying to screw around and, like, try and get headlines and stuff like that. But this would be the dumbest idea ever. This would be the dumbest idea ever because guess what? Once you went to 28, who's to stop them from going to 32? And who's to stop them from going to 36 or 40? We have to stop as a society. We have to say, you know what? I like my chocolate chip cookies with extra chocolate chips, but not everything, not like 7,000 chocolate chips inside my cookie. That was just because I'm staring at a chocolate chip cookie and on the website that I'm looking at, and it looks really good. And it's promoting that there's lots of chocolate chips in the cookie, which is great. That's what we have. We have a 16 chocolate chip cookie right now that we're heading towards. But guess what? The cookie is just as good, if not better, with 12 or 8. God, I'm making myself hungry. I don't know if I'm making other people hungry, but whatever. Like, it's just, I just stop with everything. Just stop. John on the text line says, do you think this will slow down conference expansion? No, I don't think so. I mean, I guess in some respects, but I don't think so because the TV contracts will come out in 2029 and 2030, and the TV networks will want more teams in certain conferences. I'd like to think it will. And if this happens, if we move to 28 and the ACC gets 5 bids, that means you could probably attract some solid backup teams to the ACC because we know Clemson, Florida State, North Carolina, and maybe Virginia are all leaving once this stuff all happens. But maybe you can get some decent backups. Maybe JMU, maybe Memphis, maybe Tulane, maybe South Florida. Maybe you can get decent backups into the ACC, and the conference doesn't have to take too far of a fall because they know that there'll be 5 bids waiting for them potentially if this happens, which I'm hoping it's not. So, John, I think on the one hand it could, but on the other hand, I think the amount of money that's going to be thrown around for these TV deals, I think we're still going to have the great shift in college athletics. All right, let's take a timeout. Coming up, a couple of quarterback announcements out there. One in college, one in pro. We'll get into that. And we'll touch on some other things as we get closer to the NFL season and week 0 of college football. You're listening to 106.1 ESPN.
Could save hundreds. With that kind of money, you could go big time. The next time you're out to dinner with friends, you can order the shrimp cocktail for the table. And maybe you'll realize it only comes with 4 shrimp after you've already given away 3, but that one shrimp will be so good. And if you switch and save hundreds, you could get shrimp all the time. Switch to Progressive and you could save big time. For shrimp. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates, not available in all states. Potential savings will vary.
Moms and dads, do you wish you could know where your kids' shoes are at all times? Now you can with Skechers' newest Apple AirTag compatible sneakers, Find My Skechers. There's a clever hidden AirTag compartment under the shoe's insole. It's sleek, secure, and your child can't feel or see it. Then you can check where your kids' shoes are on the Find My app. Plus, they're available for boys and girls. Get Find My Skechers at Skechers.com, a Skechers store near you, or wherever kids' shoes are sold. Apple AirTags sold separately.
It's bow time. Something new just dropped at Bojangles. Take the bold taste of a crispy golden chicken supreme that's been seasoned to perfection, then add dill pickles, Carolina Gold barbecue sauce, and a toasted bun that's great on the go. What do? You get a Bo's Bird Dog. In fact, you can grab 2 of them for $5. So when you're on the go, headed to practice, or need a snack, grab a Bo's Bird Dog. Hurry in before they're gone. Available for a limited time. It's bow time.
This is a special notice to U.S. taxpayers owing $10,000 or more to the IRS. Tax Relief Advocates is urgently notifying taxpayers that tax relief initiatives are now available that may significantly reduce or eliminate what you owe. If you're afraid of an IRS lien, levy, or wage garnishment, don't lose hope. You can now take advantage of these current relief programs to end all collections, reduce the amount you owe, and resolve your tax problem. Even if you have years of unfiled tax returns or are already in a payment plan, you may still qualify for significant relief. Struggling taxpayers can now get relief they need during these hard economic times. A hotline has been established by Tax Relief Advocates for you to call and see what you qualify for. They are A+ rated with the BBB and have over 1,000 5-star reviews. Don't wait. Call 800-575-7147. 800-575-7147. That's 800-575-7147 or simply visit TRA.com.
Must qualify for enrollment. Results may vary.
Join Mark Patrick's seminars and lose the weight or stop smoking guaranteed early bird special $49.99. Seminars Thursday, August 21st. Comfort Suites at Virginia Center Commons, Glen Allen. Weight loss 5:30 p.m. Stop smoking 8 p.m. Or Saturday, August 23rd. Hilton Garden Inn, Colonial Heights. Weight loss 11 a.m. Stop smoking 2 p.m.
Shop local and gear up at Green Top Sporting Goods. Whether you're grilling, fishing, or upgrading your wardrobe, we've got all your favorites under one roof. Looking for firearms? Check out the latest new and used models in stock now. Independently owned and trusted since day one, Green Top has what you need to make the most of the great outdoors. Come experience the tradition. Just off I-95, exit 86B. Green Top Sporting Goods, Virginia's outdoor headquarters.
From rush hour to Richmond Roar, Bob Black's voice is your sun-splashed co-pilot. Dive into all the stats, fiery takes, and the kind of energy that beats brake lights. Weekdays, 4 to 6 p.m., your drive's new favorite huddle.
Welcome back. 106.1 ESPN. Matt Joseph's here. I'm so excited that we have college football coming up on Saturday, and we have good college football coming up on Saturday. Fantastic college football coming up on Saturday. It is also decision-making time. The Cleveland Browns have come out and said Joe Flacco will be the starter week 1. I mean, that makes 100% sense. You know, you don't want to give up on the season right away. You want to at least give everybody hope that it's going to be a good season. It's not a surprise to me that Joe Flacco's the starter. I would say this. I am going to predict that Shador is the backup. And I think that at some point, Shador is going to start for the Cleveland Browns. I do. I think at some point, and he may not be terrible, but I also think that the preseason success that we've had is not exactly going to make me think that, oh, he's going to be very good. He'll make mistakes. and he will make great throws at the same time. This is the part that always annoyed me with regards to the Shedeur Sanders story, because Dylan Gabriel made a comment after the preseason game, and everybody assumed he was going after Shedeur, and it was not necessarily about Shedeur, although I think parts of it were. But if Shadeur's not on the roster, we don't say these sort of things. We don't make these sort of leaps. But I think we're entering the Cleveland Browns season with Flacco as the 1, Shedeur as the 2, Pickett as the 3, and Dylan Gabriel on the practice squad. If he makes it, which I have a feeling he will, because I don't think he hasn't looked that great. It's not like he's looked great for Cleveland. He looked all right against the Eagles, but like he hasn't done anything to separate himself. So I feel like if they waive him, he'll make it to the practice squad and he'll be back there. But we'll see. It's not a surprise that Joe Flacco was named the starter, though, because they have to do the best they can to win games. They can't sit here and say, "Well, we're going to start Shedeur," because you didn't bring Joe Flacco in to be the backup. You obviously told Joe Flacco, "Hey, we're going to draft your replacement," and at some point during the season, if you're not playing well, he will become your replacement. And so, not a surprise coming out of Cleveland. This is kind of a surprise, though. Their final preseason game on Saturday, Joe Flacco will play and start. That's interesting. Now, I know he's not going to play long, but he's going to play. So Joe Flacco, the starter out in Cleveland. Matt Stafford practiced today. Now, how much he did, we saw parts of it. He was out there. He threw a little bit. But how much he did, we don't know. Sean McVay said they're going to keep it week by week with him. Very fluid situation that demands flexibility when they asked if he was going to, what the plan is for the rest of the week. We don't know. So that's huge because, as I've said in the show, I thought the Rams were a sleeper to win the Super Bowl and to make the Super Bowl, but they ain't doing that with Jimmy G. They'll be fine. They'll make the playoffs with Jimmy G. If Jimmy G had to play the whole season, I think they make the playoffs, but I think Matt Stafford is the guy that's going to make them a Super Bowl contender. Jimmy G will make them a playoff contender, though. I think they win that division no matter who's the quarter. Well, all right, let me amend that. I don't know who their third stringer is in Los Angeles, but I think Jimmy G is a playoff quarterback, to say the least. Elsewhere, Jordan Love was back at practice today. He had the thumb surgery, so he's back at practice. He was out for a little bit. Good for the Packers. And then in college football, Julian Sayin, I don't know how to say his last name, but Julian Sayin, the second-year player, is going to be the starting quarterback when Texas comes to Ohio Stadium. And I think that's really interesting. You have him and a junior, Lincoln Kienholz. But Julian Sayin, who was a highly touted, I think 5-star kid coming out of high school, he's not easing into the season, to say the least. He is not easing into the season playing Texas, and this is why, look, if you want me to believe in Texas and believe in Arch Manning, win this first game. That's it. Win this first game. Go show everybody that you are capable of winning the first game. Now, here's the thing that's interesting about college football. They can lose this first game and still make the playoff. They could lose the first 3 games and still make the playoff if there were 24 or 28 teams. That's what we're kind of looking at here, and that's why I'm disappointed with regards to the expansion of the college football playoff. But this is a huge game to start. I mean, we actually have a tremendous first week of the college football season. Week 1, not week 0. I think week 0 is still going to be good. But, when you look at that first week, we've talked about all the ACC games. But when you see Ohio State and Texas, that is huge, to say the least, because that's going to give somebody the inside track on a 1 seed, being a higher seeded team in the college football playoff, because we assume both teams are going to make it. Ohio State right now is a 2.5-point favorite against Texas. Total is 47.5, 48 in that game. Ohio State's got a lot of talent, although they lost a lot of talent. Jeremiah Smith, really good wide receiver, He doesn't necessarily have the greatest number 2 with him, but it doesn't really necessarily matter. So we're starting out the college football season with a huge game, and the youngster is going to start against Texas, who has a really good defense. A really good defense. We also saw over the weekend Joey Aguilar was named the Tennessee starting quarterback. That's expected. That's expected because he came over from App State. You know, all the Tennessee fans were really worried about that and stuff like that. But we're now getting into all sorts of quarterback decisions, to say the least. The last thing I'll say in this segment is right now, as we speak, Whit Babcock is making his presentation to the Board of Visitors up at Virginia Tech. We talked about it last week on Bob's show with all the slides and everything that he said. And basically, you know, it's open. So I'm reading tweets from David Teal and Andy Bitter and all this stuff. And basically it's, you know, he's going over all the slides. And as I like to say, he is basically begging for money, which is what he's doing. And he's doing it because he knows his job is on the line. Like, he said it. He may not be here a couple years from now, whether he retires or he gets fired. He knows that there's an urgency here. It is interesting. He says that he thinks they need an annual budget of $200 million, and he thinks the budget for this year is $144. I don't know where they're going to find $56 million. I don't know, but Tech needs more money to compete. When you got Kansas, who has a donor doing $200 million to the school, Tech's got to find something. And yeah, that's not always the case for everybody. Not everybody's going to have all these alumni who's going to be able to do it. Then Tech has to get more creative, more concerts, more everything, upgrade certain facilities, give away seats, whatever. But Whit Babcock is making his presentation. I don't know what's going to come out of it. If the presentation's good, maybe they find a couple $1 million. I don't know where you're going to find $56 million. I don't know where this difference is just going to suddenly appear. But I will be interested to see what comes out of the fact that Whit Babcock is basically begging for money from the Board of Visitors. And that's what he's doing. Like that, there's no other way to describe this. There's no other way to have this be described. He is begging for money, and that's just what happens. Some schools need to do that. Some schools don't. Virginia's never going to need to do that, or at least in the near future, they're not going to need to do that. As long as they keep getting these anonymous donors who are donating millions of dollars to the various sports, they don't have to necessarily beg for money. But right now, Whit Babcock is saying, I can't compete unless you find more money. So if you're a Tech grad, be ready for that phone call. It says, hey, have you thought about donating to your school lately? And then you say no, and there's a rebuttal book, because I did this for Syracuse, and I hated this job because when people say no, you're supposed to do a rebuttal. You say, well, I see you had this as your major. Don't you want to help out your current school? And then there's a rebuttal to that, and it's like, oh, my God, it's the worst job ever. But you may start getting phone calls from Blacksburg that say, hey, can you open up your wallet a little bit because we need your help? Let's take a timeout. We'll do our final segment next, 106.1 ESPN.
Allianz Amphitheater at Riverfront at ESPN welcomes Simple Plan with Bowling for Soup, 303 at Lolo, Tuesday, August 26th. Tickets are on sale now. Gavin Adcock with Braxton Keith and Laney Gardner, Thursday, August 28th. Tickets are on sale now. Allison Krause and Union Station featuring Jerry Douglas, Friday, August 29th. Tickets on sale now. Tickets are available at liveNation.com. Part of the Virginia Credit Union Concert Series. Click on ESPNRichmond.com for more Live Nation concert information.
Drivers who switch and save with Progressive could save hundreds. With that kind of money, you could go big time. The next time you're out to dinner with friends, you can order the shrimp cocktail for the table. And maybe you'll realize it only comes with 4 shrimp after you've already given away 3, but that one shrimp will be so good. And if you switch and save hundreds, you could get shrimp all the time. Switch to Progressive and you could save big time. For shrimp. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates, not available in all states. Potential savings will vary.
Moms and dads, do you wish you could know where your kids' shoes are at all times? Now you can with Skechers' newest Apple AirTag compatible sneakers, Find My Skechers. There's a clever hidden AirTag compartment under the shoe's insole. It's sleek, secure, and your child can't feel or see it. Then you can check where your kids' shoes are on the Find My app. Plus, they're available for boys and girls. Get Find My Skechers at Skechers.com, a Skechers store near you, or wherever kids' shoes are sold. Apple AirTags sold separately.
Score big 106.1 ESPN app.
Listen live anywhere.
Crystal clear coverage, breaking news,
And Richmond's rowdiest sports debates.
tap in and turn it up.
Final segment for Monday, and then we'll do it all again with the Mashup Hour. Can I just say I love this, the Connor Stallions story is fascinating even more. Like, it's already was fascinating. But there's apparently a report coming out of CBS Detroit that says Connor Stallions was contacted by Central Michigan to be on the sidelines to help them against Michigan State, that he was not there to be representing Michigan. Now, of course, I'm sure he was getting things from the Spartans that he would then take to the Wolverines, but they contacted him to have him on the sidelines to help decipher things, to help play calling, basically, is what they're saying. And they, I mean, if that's the case, then Central Michigan should get in a little bit of trouble. You know, if they knew what Connor Stallions was doing on the sideline and decided to have him there for that purpose. Like, if you pled ignorance and said, oh, I don't know why Connor Stallions was there, I don't know. Well, like, if you said, or at least if the story comes out that basically you hired him and contacted him directly to be at that game to help with play calling, I mean, Central Michigan deserves, well, probably a slap on the wrist, which is what Michigan got in my mind. I know. Financials, I know. A lot of money. Blah, blah, blah. But, like, I just, this story is just, it's, you know, as I said last week, there was a great Netflix special on this whole Connor Stallions thing, and he's very boastful. He's very prideful in what he did with regards to this whole thing. But he wasn't, they said he was not like that when he got interviewed by the NCAA, which makes sense. You wouldn't want to be like that. But if Central Michigan hired him and had him on the sideline because they knew what they knew what they wanted, like they wanted him to be there, that's pretty impressive, to say the least. Stupid, but pretty impressive, to say the least. He could have made a job out of that. He could have been like, hey, you want to hire me to sit here and watch the sidelines and just kind of decipher play calls and help you play call? He could have made a business out of that. Maybe he still will. Who knows? But that is what's going on. That's the latest in the Connor Stallion story, which I'm sure there will be more and more things that come out as we go along. All right, that'll wrap things up here for a Monday. Don't forget, coming up on Wednesday, we're going to start our Spider football interviews. Wednesdays at 3:30 every week during the football season, we'll have Spider players on. We'll have our first one. Kyle Wickersham will join us. So you'll hear from the starting quarterback of the Spiders. And we'll do that on Wednesday. Eric Edholm of NFL.com will join us on Thursday. And we're working on some Tech and UVA guests as well this week. It feels so good for it to be game week. Week 0 is upon us in college football. There will be meaningful games coming up this weekend, and we are so excited. Don't forget, coming up tomorrow on the show, we'll recap what happened in the Bengals-Commanders game. We'll see if anything happens on the Terry McLaurin front, on the Brian Robinson front, and we'll talk a lot of NFL football with you. Stick around through the break, the Mashup Hour. We'll do that next, 106.1 ESPN.
Ready to elevate your everyday? Quince has the luxe staples insiders swear by, minus the markup. From 100% European linen styles and 14-karat gold jewelry to gorgeous leather bags and elevated home finds, Quince has it all. And by partnering directly with top artisans and ethical factories, Quince delivers premium quality at half the cost of similar brands. Discover everyday luxury without the markup at Quince. Go to quince.com/styleupgrade for free shipping and 365-day returns. Quince.com/styleupgrade.
Vanity Fair calls BritBox a delicious streamer. Collider says everyone should be watching. Catch Britain's next best series with BritBox. Stream acclaimed new originals like Code of Silence.
You read lips, right?
And Linley, based on the best-selling mystery series.
Say hi, Linley. Take it from here.
And don't miss the new season of Karen Pirie, coming this October.
You don't look like police. I'll take that as a compliment.
See it differently when you stream the best of British TV with BritBox. Watch with a free trial today.
Call Herman Allen Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling at 804-746-5853 today to learn more about their award-winning Lennox product offerings.
Looking for the perfect golf course? Check out RVA's best-kept secret, Queenfield Golf Club, just a few minutes past Mechanicsville. Reserve your tee time today at queenfieldgolf.com.
Bonaire Shell has been serving the RVA community for 20-plus years, providing service with a smile and technicians you can trust. Family owned and operated, 8762 Huguenot Road.
How would you like a free dinner? That's right, a free dinner. Hi, I'm Jeff Trice with the Insurance Doctor, and I've been telling you for years how nobody beats the Insurance Doctor's prices. And now I'll prove it. Just bring your current auto insurance policy into the Insurance Doctor location nearest you, and if we can't beat your price, I'll buy you dinner at the restaurant of your choice. So now is the perfect time to shop your auto insurance, because I'll either save you a ton of money on your car insurance or dinner's on me. Either way, you get paid. Our competitors like to say they can save you money on your car insurance, but only the Insurance Doctor has a low price guarantee. So no matter who you're with, we will beat their price. It's guaranteed. Oh, and by the way, I'll throw in your own personal agent for free. Just bring your current auto insurance policy into the Insurance Doctor location nearest you. I'll either save you a ton of money on your car insurance or dinner's on me. So call us today and see why I say nobody beats the Insurance Doctor.
When you talk with your child about fentanyl, you might think they hear this. But what they'll really hear is this.
It only takes one tiny little bit of fentanyl to kill you. And they're putting in fake pills, and it might even be in vape pens.
Because research shows that parents are still one of the most important sources of information for kids. So have the talk about fentanyl. It only takes one conversation to save a life. Sponsored by It Only Takes One.
Hey, it's me, your piggy bank. Remember when you were a little kid? All the dimes and quarters in my back? Yeah, that was good times. Good times. Now, lately, I gotta be honest, you've been ignoring me. Money's been slipping through your hands like a greased pig. Get it? Because I'm a... Anyway, I know how it is. Now that you get a real paycheck, it's nice to have stuff. You'll start saving money next year. Well, I hate to tell you, but good saving habits start now. Put just $20 in the bank a month. Make your own coffee at home instead of that latte every morning. Brown bag it to work instead of ordering in. Those changes alone could save you thousands of dollars a year. Come on, I'm your piggy bank. We can be together again, me and you, the special times. Anyway, if you don't want me to cry anymore, feed me. Go to feedthepig.org for more ideas on how to save. Feedthepig.org. This message brought to you by the American Institute of Certified Public Accountants and the Ad Council.
From the Bull Rush ESPN studios. Learn more at bullrush.com/ESPN. W291CL Lakeside Richmond. WURV HD2 Richmond. We are 106.1 ESPN.
This is SportsCenter.
I'm Christine Lisi. It was something the Rams have been waiting for all summer. Quarterback Matthew Stafford, back from a back injury, practiced today for the first time at training camp. Coach Sean McVay, when asked about his confidence level in Stafford being ready for Week 1, said he thinks that would be putting the cart way before the horse. Browns named Joe Flacco their starting QB for the season opener. He'll have plenty of company in that Cleveland quarterback room, believes ESPN NFL insider Adam Schefter.
They always were going to keep Joe Flacco. They always were going to keep both rookies, who, by the way, I think could draw some interest around the league. And then Kenny Pickett would be the fourth guy. And there are just enough teams that still need quarterback help. And so they're holding on to a commodity, an asset. That's what quarterbacks are.
Kenny Pickett and those rookies, Shedeur Sanders, Dylan Gabriel, competing for the backup job. 6 days after left thumb surgery, it was back to practice today for Packers quarterback Jordan Love. Defending national champion, third-ranked Ohio State named Julian Sayin its starting quarterback for Week 1 against top-ranked Texas.
Hey, it's your resident Super Bowl champ, Chris Candy, coming up Tuesday. I'll tell you the 5 teams most likely to improve this upcoming season. It's Unsportsmanlike, weekday mornings at 6, right here on ESPN Radio, ESPN2, and ESPNU.
Check this out, y'all.
Audio level full volume. It's go time.
Live from the capital of the Commonwealth. This is the Mashup Hour of Border to Border and the Sports Huddle with Matt Josephs and Bob Black.
Welcome in on a Monday. 106.1 ESPN. Matt Josephs, Bob Black here. Overcast Monday. But, Bob, it is sunshine and lollipops here in the studio as Week 0 is officially upon us for college football.
Of us, it starts next weekend. So, yeah, the countdown is certainly on.
Yep, the ACC could start 1-0. Stanford at Hawaii, Bob, a underrated opportunity for the conference to get a victory. But it's just nice to see college football coming up on Saturday on my TV screen.
Yeah, that will be another viewing option this weekend so that you don't have to be saddled with NFL preseason football games for one more week of games, Matt, and then even the NFL will turn its attention to the regular season.
So we have a lot to get into on the show today. I teased it in my hour. I'm sure you heard it, Bob. But remember last year we talked about Bill Connolly, who came up with the list. He did every single football team in America, in the world. Division 7 was listed and everything. He did his first one for the preseason. So a little bit later, we're going to talk about it, Bob, because there are some very interesting placements for some of the teams in our state on this list.
Didn't hear it this time around, Matt. Didn't follow that one, so I'm going to have to play some catch-up on that one with you.
I didn't talk about him. I saved it and teased the list for this because I wanted everybody to hear it here. But before we get into all that stuff, Bob, it is game night for the Commanders tonight as they get set for the Cincinnati Bengals. The first drive or two, we will see a whole bunch of ones on both sides tonight, Bob. What are your thoughts as we enter tonight's contest?
I guess tune in early, right? The Bengals did that last week against the Eagles. The Commanders did not do that last week in their preseason opener against the Patriots, and now they are. Do you think this changed because of some of the absences, particularly on the offensive side of the ball for the Commanders? Do you think their thinking, Dan Quinn's thinking, changed? Or do you think he was planning to do this all along?
I think some of it changed with how they were playing in practice lately. I think that he has not been happy with regards to the way this offense looks. And look, Bob, the injuries on the offensive line would be the reason why I wouldn't play Jaden Daniels tonight, but I think he needs to get some burn.
Yeah, I do too. I think it seems like most teams this year, for the most part, not all of them, to include the Eagles, are playing some of their frontline guys in a series or two or even a quarter to try and get them ready and ramped up and ready to go with week one. And, the Bengals are now doing it in back-to-back weeks. They're kind of going back to that old philosophy, right, of playing the early preseason games and then sitting at the end. And the Commanders are going to follow suit tonight. So there's at least something to tune in for, at least for the beginning of the game. Not that the rest of it isn't, to kind of figure out who's got a chance to make the squad, who doesn't, who's going to get traded. I know there's plenty of talk around Brian Robinson right now with the Commanders. He's not even going to play tonight. So that kind of tips you off that they really don't have him much in their future. So there's reason to watch tonight, I guess.
So what do you think about that? It was announced over the weekend that Brian Robinson is on the trade block. He is not playing tonight. What did you think when you heard that from the various reports?
Yeah, I don't know that he has been great with them over the course of time. I think he's had some flashes of being pretty good. But I think they feel really good, about the rookie, right, about Krosky Merritt. I think he's really elevated, and then they have a veteran in Austin Eckler. So I think they feel like they're pretty decent in the running back room, and maybe they can get some value out of Brian Robinson. I don't know. I guess he might just not even make the roster, or they might try to find a team that would want to trade for him.
Well, we talked about the running back room and how there was a chance they were going to keep 5 or 6 guys, and obviously the way to not have 5 or 6 guys in your room is to trade one of them. My question is, what do they expect to get for him? He is an ordinary running back with 1 year left on his contract. And if you're getting traded by a team that needs running backs, what are you expecting to get back for him?
Yeah, I don't know if you're going to get much in the way of a player back, or maybe just get a mid to lower round draft pick back for him. But I think they would take what they could get, because I don't know, it almost feels like, if you read between the words, that they would eventually just wind up releasing him with just a year to go. So anything they get would probably be okay at this point. Like, I never thought they were going to keep 6 running backs anyway. So I was not overly shocked by this. It kind of validated the media, the reporters have been watching practices and the way they were viewing Krosky Merritt particularly, and how good he's been. And I think Chris Rodriguez, I guess, has done pretty well also. So, but again, I never thought they were going to keep 6 running backs. That was just way too many.
Yeah, I've been a Chris Rodriguez guy. I liked him in Kentucky. I think that he didn't get a ton of time in the lineup, but whenever he did, he kind of made things happen. And he's a guy who does the little things as well. He's a good blocker. He can catch passes and stuff. But I never was impressed by Brian Robinson. I just thought he was ordinary. He had some decent runs, but he doesn't make people miss, and he's not a good guy out of the backfield in terms of being a receiver either.
Well, apparently Adam Peters and Dan Quinn have been listening to you there, Matt, because it does sound like that's the direction they're headed as well, that, between Rodriguez, Krosky Merritt, and Austin Eckler, that, there's at least a 3-man rotation. And then, there'll be some battles, I guess, for a 4th running back and maybe a 5th. And, Brian Robinson just not in their plans. And like I said, they'll probably just wind up releasing him. So if they can make a trade and just get something, they would probably go ahead and do that. I think it's the start of what could be a pretty active week for the Commanders on that front. I don't know if you even thought about this or you did it at all, Matt, but I was kind of connecting the dots a little bit as I was reading, some of the proposed trade ideas on Twitter and, all the other sources, Yahoo Sports, which, I really like. And they were talking about these what could happen if you had a trade of so-and-so, right? And whose name always came up, right? Terry McLaurin, for sure. And what if the Commanders really were going to trade him? And then the Eagles made that trade with the Texans this weekend, and the Eagles got a Texans wide receiver, John Mechie, in exchange for a tight end who I'm not sure I even knew who he was with the Eagles. So I think that's another good pickup for the Eagles, but I digress a little bit because after I read about that, then I read one of the Yahoo Sports guys who was listing 4 different trade, just possibilities, nothing etched in stone. But he did say, how about Terry McLaurin to the Houston Texans? And I found that pretty intriguing, especially if the Texans just traded away one of their wide receivers.
Well, I don't think Terry McLaurin's going anywhere. I just don't think that they're going to trade him. I think the Commanders, with the fact that they still own his rights and he still has 1 more year left in his deal, I just don't think that would be giving somebody away for less than their value. And I can't see Adam Peters doing that.
I guess it depends on what you get in return from him, Anyway, because this story did talk about that. It's interesting that you said that. Obviously, that would be a help to the Texans, even if it's just for 1 season. But I guess one of their wide receivers does have a connection to Cliff Kingsbury, Christian Kirk from the Houston Texans.
Okay.
So maybe I'm just throwing this out here as talk show fodder, Matt. That one thing that, connecting dot A to dot B to dot C, that was kind of interesting to me. I don't think it's going to happen either. I think the Commanders would be nuts to trade him. I really do. I think they just make him play at some point. I'm a little different. I think the Commanders have all the leverage in this situation. I really do. And they just tell them, let's play. You're under contract. Get out there and play. And I think that either that's going to happen or there is going to be some blockbuster, and maybe my fantasy here becomes a little closer to reality.
Well, and I also think that, along those same lines, and I wasn't sure if this is where you were going, what if the Commanders wanted to trade Brian Robinson in a Trey Hendrickson trade with the Bengals, who just released Zach Moss from their roster, and he was a guy that they figured was going to get some carries behind Chase Brown. What if Brian Robinson is used to get Trey Hendrickson, which I feel like we've been talking about all offseason, and now they're finally like, well, we might trade them.
I think you got to get more than just Brian Robinson for Trey Hendrickson, but I guess it's a start. If the Bengals feel like they're not going to get anywhere in that impasse, I guess you could do that. But obviously, you would need a lot more than that, right?
Yeah, it would have to be at least a first. That's what the Bengals are asking for, a first and a player.
Maybe that.
And it doesn't have to be a defensive player, they said. It would be a young player. I don't know. This is, and guess what? They're in the same stadium tonight. The GMs are in the same building tonight. I mean, the Bengals are going to ask for the world, but if you're the Commanders who have a weakness at edge rusher and you have Brian Robinson who may have a little bit of value, why not pair the two up and decide to, look that direction?
I feel like if I'm the Commanders, I'm doing that one in a heartbeat, aren't I? Right? Just a first round and Brian Robinson for Trey Hendrickson?
Yeah, but
I would do in a heartbeat. Now, there may have to be even more value to it than that.
Correct. They might have to give up a Johnny Newton or a somebody else,
Which
besides.
Is okay.
I mean, look.
Which is okay.
But remember, and I have to look. I don't know how old Trey Hendrickson is. Remember, Bob, they don't like these 30-year-old guys.
That's for sure.
Trey Hendrickson is he just turned 30, so this might not work out because they don't like 30-year-olds up in D.C.
Well, but now he's just turning 30. McLaurin is just about to turn 31. So there's still a little bit of a discrepancy that McLaurin is still older in that regard. Maybe we're splitting hairs there over a year. But he is, just on the other side of 30, whereas McLaurin will be a year past it. So I don't know.
I mean, my bad. So December 5th is Trey Hendrickson's birthday. He will turn 31.
Oh, so no, they're not interested.
Of course not. He's too old.
I'm kidding. Yes, right. He's too old. Yeah, no, I'm kidding. That's an intriguing one, too. I think there's some intriguing ideas out there on the table for all of these guys who are holding out, which it now is, right, until McLaurin starts to practice. Now it is a holdout, or is it no longer a hold in or a holdout now that he's off the PUP list?
Right. And who knows what they're officially calling it now that he's actually on the roster. I guess he's just there. That's what he is.
When they go to practice tomorrow or Wednesday, I don't know if they get a day off after a preseason game or not, he should be on the practice field, right? He's under contract. He's not on the PUP list anymore, so he needs to be at practice, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I would think we should see him practice Wednesday. I would assume. I don't know.
I mean, we'll see what happens. Anybody else that you're looking at tonight? Obviously, as we said, the first two drives are what we're probably looking at. But is there anything else that you're going to be interested or intrigued by tonight?
No, I think that running back rotation is certainly going to be a top priority in this thing, and just to see what Jaden Daniels does. With Deebo Samuel, I guess he's going to play also. Is that right? If he's going to play tonight, that'd be intriguing to see how that connection looks for a couple of drives.
Yeah. I mean, look, I think you're going to have some starters so that way Jaden Daniels can look good and get him in and get him out. My eye is on the guy I've talked about all offseason, Marshawn Lattimore. You're actually going up against Jamar Chase and T. Higgins tonight.
Yeah,
so,
that's a good one.
You actually have to play well tonight. This is not one of those things where, it would look worse if he was going against backups and third stringers. He's going up against the starters tonight, so I'd like to see Marshawn Lattimore not commit a 15-yard penalty and actually play defense against two of the best wide receivers in football.
And I'm all in on Dan Quinn doing this tonight, and I think I mentioned this last week when you asked me about that I would go ahead with most teams and play these guys a series or two. And I understand the injury factor, so look, I'm not gonna do hindsight as 2020. I'm not gonna do any of that. So that if they play them tonight and one of them gets hurt, I'm not gonna criticize for doing that, because in advance I do think it's worth getting those guys in there a little bit. And injuries are part of the game. We don't want them to happen. We'll do everything we can to make sure they don't. And we're going to certainly keep Jaden Daniels out of harm's way as much as possible. But I am in favor of them getting a little bit of actual game sweat under their helmet tonight.
Yeah. Well, I mean, really, we'll just grade the first two drives in both directions and see what happens.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I like that. I definitely like that. So interested in watching that this evening.
And then also, I guess, the kicker, because, Matt Gay missed some field goals last game. We have to see if the kicking is going to be an issue at all for this team. But, I mean, that's something to watch tonight. You almost want to get into field goal range and allow him to kick the ball, because if he can do that, that'll, cross off a worry on the list.
Yeah. No, I think they absolutely will put him in that position, maybe even a couple of times during the course of the game. And you can pretty much orchestrate that to happen if you really want to, for the most part. But, yes, I do think they need to see him, because remember what Dan Quinn said about that, right? Somebody asked him if there was going to be a kicker competition, and he said it was a fair question, but he wasn't there yet. So maybe after tonight he could either be there, or if Gay has a good night, then he can kind of put it to rest for a while.
327-0888, that's the phone number. The text line, 804 is the area code. If we missed anybody, you're watching tonight for the Commanders and the Bengals as they get set for preseason game number 2. And by the way, did you notice that in the Joe Flacco announcement of him starting, Bob, that he will be playing in game 3 for Cleveland a little bit?
That's a little bit of an oddity, right? But I guess since they already have 2 games under their belts and they've just now named him the starting quarterback, which I don't think has come as a surprise to anybody and probably is what they were going to do all along. And I guess they do want to get him a little bit of work. And again, that's another guy. He's not overly mobile. Don't put him in harm's way when you do play him out there. And then how's Sanders doing? I have not seen. Has he recovered injury-wise where he could play a little bit as he continues to battle for one of those backup spots?
I think they're keeping him safe. I think they're kind of using, he's practicing a little bit, but not doing everything out there and everything. And, of course, that was the huge story over the weekend, what Dylan Gabriel said and whether or not he meant to say it about Shedeur Sanders. And I don't know. I think there was a little bit of truth there, but I don't think he was basically calling out his fellow teammate in Shedeur Sanders with that comment.
So if all Sanders is doing the rest of the way is practicing and doesn't play in this next game, what's his status? I mean, where do you think he lands, in this quarterback room?
I still think he's the backup. I still think he's going to be the backup, and I think that eventually he's going to start when Joe Flacco's not very good, and it's going to be like, I don't know. I move it up because I thought it was going to be like week 13. I think like week 5, 6, 7, we might see Shedeur starting, and then, away we go from there.
And then Kenny Pickett's still been hurt, hasn't he? He hasn't done much.
He has not. I don't think they're going to get rid of him, but I think that he could be the 3rd or 4th string guy if he's not careful.
Or they just put him on one of those injured lists, right? Injured reserve or something like that.
Right. One of those wink.
Yeah. Well, I mean, he legitimately is hurt, apparently. Otherwise, he would have been playing. I mean, he hasn't practiced or played.
Well, yeah, but I'm just saying maybe he becomes healthy and then all of a sudden he still is on the pup list, the wink.
I don't know.
list.
I think if he becomes healthy, he might be their number 2 at the start of this thing. I don't know.
Could be. I mean, he's got to practice at some point, though, I would think, to be the backup.
Yep, I would think so. Yeah.
All right, let's take a timeout. Coming up, we'll do a little college football as we get set for week 0 coming up on Saturday. We'll hear from Bob on what he saw from the secret Richmond scrimmage on Saturday, what he saw.
Well, we're going to hear from the head man on that. So right at 5 o'clock, Russ Huseman. We did not. Here's how secret it was, Matt. It was so secret, we didn't even do any post-scrimmage interviews. That's how secret it was. I'm tongue-in-cheek a little bit. I think if we had wanted to in that instance, Coach Huseman would have done that. But it really was empty in Robins Stadium. I can tell you that. There were a few people trying to be onlookers, and they were politely asked not to look at that point because there are certain spots out there that you can kind of peek into the stadium. But anyway, Russ is going to join us live at 5 o'clock. That'll be our post-scrimmage spider sound for this Monday afternoon. I give you some of my observations as well. But it was a little different because normally the scrimmages at Richmond are open, and this one very definitely was not.
We'll do that, and then we'll tell you where do the Spiders rank in the college football hierarchy amongst all the levels of sports of all the college football teams in the country. We'll talk about that as well as we take you up until 5. You're listening to 106.1 ESPN.
Traffic reports on 106.1 ESPN Richmond, brought to you by Herman Allen Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling, a premier Lennox dealer. Online at HermanAllenPlumbing.com.
Do you want a shot at $50,000? Bull Rush just launched the NFL Survivor, a $100,000 total prize pool sports picking competition. Survive 20 weeks, finish first, and take home $50K. Join now at bullrush.com/ESPN.
Hey, it's Crash Gladys from Speed Freaks. Are you still paying full price for gas? Stop leaving money behind. Get real cash back every time you fill up with the free Upside app. Simply download the free Upside app in the App Store or Google Play right now and start earning cash at the pump today. Use limited time promo code SUMMER and get an extra 25 cents back per gallon on your first fill up. Listeners are making $200 to $300 a year just from buying the gas they already needed. Don't wait. Download the free Upside app now and use promo code SUMMER to redeem your 25 cent per gallon bonus. That's promo code SUMMER. Yeah, at first I thought it was too good to be true, but it's completely legit. Plus, you can cash out anytime. Don't let this offer drive on by. Download the free Upside app now by using limited time time promo code SUMMER. That's promo code SUMMER for a limited time 25 cents per gallon bonus. Offers vary by user and location. Go to upside.com for terms and conditions.
Join Mark Patrick's seminars and lose the weight or stop smoking early bird special $49.99. Seminars Thursday, August 21st. Comfort Suites at Virginia Center Commons, Glen Allen. Weight loss 5:30 p.m. Stop smoking 8 p.m. Or Saturday, August 23rd. Hilton Garden Inn, Colonial Heights. Weight loss 11 a.m. Stop smoking 2 p.m.
Shop local and gear up at Green Top Sporting Goods. Whether you're grilling, fishing, or upgrading your wardrobe, we've got all your favorites under one roof. Looking for firearms? Check out the latest new and used models in stock now. Independently owned and trusted since day one, Green Top has what you need to make the most of the great outdoors. Come experience the tradition. Just off I-95, exit 86B. Green Top Sporting Goods, Virginia's outdoor headquarters.
Hey, my name is Wally Rayner, former NFL linebacker. Wahoo Wah. Hey, I'm here in Richmond, and when I'm riding around, I listen to Border to Border at 106.1 ESPN.
Welcome back. Mashup Hour, Border to Border, Sports Huddle. Bob and Matt with you on a Monday afternoon. And, Matt, I actually wish that this cloudy, overcast, somewhat dreary, but much cooler Monday had been my Sunday instead. Because as I mentioned at the end of last week, I was at Nats Park yesterday for a steamy 11:35 a.m. game between the Fightin' Phils and the Washington Nationals, and saw one of the more wild games of the year that the Phillies eventually won 11-9. And tell you, Matt, I got my money's worth. It was the longest 9-inning game by time for the Phillies this season, 3+ hours. So even though I was drenched in sweat, at least I got my money's worth.
Yes, you did. You love long games. I'm the one who likes the short ones. You need to get your money's worth when you go to these things.
Well, I would have rather done without it yesterday. Obviously, the Phillies built a 6-0 lead, and Aaron Nola in his first game back from his ankle injury and his rib injury couldn't keep a 6-run lead. And before you knew it, that game was tied. Now, the other guy that came back for the Phillies yesterday, Alec Bohm, did deliver a 3-run homer. So from the Philadelphia perspective, that was good to say. And I guess, Matt, my double-edged sword was even after the Phillies regained the lead and went up by 5 in the 9th inning, they still couldn't protect that. And they actually had to bring Johan Duran into the game, which was exciting. I had never seen him pitch in person before, and it really is an impressive thing to see a guy like start out at like 98 miles an hour, which you're like, wow. And then within about 3 or 4 pitches, he's up literally consistently at 102. And I was really betwixt and between at the end, Matt, because they brought the tying run. The Nats brought the tying run to the plate in the 9th against Duran. And it was my guy, James Wood. You know, Kenny's in the stands. We didn't connect yesterday. We texted, and every time we were going to, meet up on the concourse, something changed, and we didn't. But anyway, he didn't play. He was given a day off on Sunday, and he came up the pinch hit in the bottom of the 9th as the tying run with Duran on the mound, and unfortunately, he blew him away in 3 pitches. Now, today I'm pretty happy about that, right, because I want the Phillies to win. But I didn't want to see him do that. That's a tough spot to come up and pinch hit against that guy. I would have rather he kind of walked maybe, and then Duran got the last out, or got a hit that maybe didn't score the run. I certainly didn't want him hitting a 2-run homer. I can tell you that. So it was kind of a weird feeling, but it was impressive to watch him pitch and throw 102 miles an hour, and the Phils wound up splitting that 4-game series.
Not a true Phillies fan, Bob. You cannot. James Wood striking out was the best thing to happen. There is no getting on base and having the next guy get on. You have to.
Why not? Why not?
Because
still win the game. Still win the game, Matt.
You got to get the outs and you got to get the victory. That's all there is to it.
Got to get the victory. I still wanted the victory. Absolutely. And I did cheer when he struck him out. I will admit that. I won't admit it to Kenny. But I did, because obviously I wanted the Phillies to win. But, I have a personal connection there. So there is a little something to that. But I didn't want like I said it again. I didn't want him to hit a 2-run homer and tie the game. I wasn't that much into him.
James Wood's been miserable lately. He is striking out a ton. I think he's hit the wall because he is striking out a ton lately.
Yeah,
he was hitting 188 last month.
Yeah. They moved him to the leadoff spot, and he's done a little better. He had the 2-run double that beat the Phillies the other night. I wasn't very happy about that either in the 2-0 game. So he is delivering some clutch hits. But, yeah, he has struck out an awful lot. And that's a tough spot, man. You're coming in, I know it's 100 degrees, but you're coming in cold, and you're facing literally the premier relief pitcher in the major leagues. And, yeah, he did blow him away on 3 pitches.
21 Ks and 61 at-bats this month so far, and we are only halfway through them, slightly past halfway.
You talking about James Wood or Nick Castellanos?
Wow, that too. James Wood that's after last month when he had 39 Ks and 85 at-bats. So, yeah. I mean, I just think it's, it's a wall that you hit when you play a season this long.
Which is why they may have rested him yesterday, because I did find that kind of curious. I mean, he's a left-handed hitter. The Phillies had a right-hander on the mound, and he just had the big 2-run double that won the game for him. So he's obviously feeling a little bit better, and they didn't play him yesterday. And then they brought him up in, that situation. I mean, look, the Nats are a mess. We talk about the Nats enough as a regional local team for us, and, Nats Chat podcast and all of that. But they're a mess. I mean, they threw like 5 pitchers in the first 5 innings of that game yesterday. I know it was a wild, kind of crazy game, but still – they need a manager. They need a general manager. They got some good young parts. But, I mean, if I'm a Nats fan, it's going to be a long off season, and you might be rebooting and starting from scratch again, which I don't know how they're going to sell season tickets. And I will say this, Matt, again, 11:35 is not a great time to play a Major League Baseball game at 95 degrees where there's not a whole lot of shade at that hour of the day and a bad team. It's about as empty a Major League ballpark as I've ever been in going to a big league game. I normally try and pick games that, have some substance to them. And yesterday did for the Phillies. That was a big win for them. But there were only 25,000 people at that game. As we left, I said, here's how we judge. We're able to hop right on the subway. There was a little bit of a line to get you down the escalator and all, because I love taking the Metro in D.C. That's the best part of baseball there is being able to get in and out of there. But there was no crowd at the subway station or anything when we left the park. So it was a downtrodden feeling, I think, for Washington baseball fans right now.
Well, they're all moving on to the Commanders anyway. I think that most of them are leaving the baseball team in the past.
And there was a wonderful, loud EAGLES Eagles chant as we were walking the concourse after the game ended. So I laughed at that because, that was for the Commanders fans that were still in attendance at the Nats game, because there were plenty of Phillies fans, and many of them had Eagle Green on at Nats Park yesterday, which, by the way, have you ever been there?
To Nats Park? Of course I have.
What do you think?
I mean, it's all right. It's not great, but it's not terrible. I mean, I think that it's got its decent amenities.
Yeah, I don't think it does. I go even below where you just were on that one. I am so underwhelmed by that ballpark. The only reason I continue it's fine to sit there, like you said, and watch, the other team that's your team play, but I am so underwhelmed with a park that is still relatively modern. It just doesn't have the amenities to me, and it doesn't do things the right way. And, if Camden Yards were closer, I'd be going to Camden Yards more than Nats Park.
Well, yeah, Camden Yards, no matter how old it is, still has the charm that it had when it first opened.
Yeah, but and it's just little things. I've kind of become a little bit of a baseball fan snob, because I don't go to many games as a fan, obviously, with, our work commitments and, having done baseball professionally, all of that. So when I go, I want the best experience possible. I try to get the best seats. Don't sit up in the nosebleed. Didn't do that yesterday either. All of that. But there were just, several things that were like, this could be a lot better. Like, I'll give you a little one, but it's not so little. They don't have very many TV monitors in the concourse at the concession stands. And where they do, they're kind of hidden, and they're not particularly big in this day and age. So when you're in line at the concession stand, and the lines weren't all that bad yesterday because there weren't that many people there, you can't watch the game. So, I mean, little things like that. You mentioned amenities. That, to me, is one of them. You go to PNC Park or Camden Yards or Citizens Bank Park, and there's monitors everywhere. So when you're standing in line, you can still watch the game. Little things like that. Like I said, Matt, I've become a little bit of a fan snob. Probably not just baseball, but any sport. I would do that now going to a game as a fan.
It sounds like it. I mean, if you're, thinking about the TVs in the concourse, that's...
What if you had to wait in a line for 10 or 15 minutes, and it's the third or fourth or fifth inning? I mean, most ballparks you can do that. It wasn't impossible to do yesterday, but it was harder than I thought it should have been.
I mean, all right. I don't really notice that sort of thing, but then again, this is just it seems small, but you're right. If there's not enough of them, then maybe you have to stay at your seat. Then maybe order food and get something delivered.
But that's part of the experience to me. Is ordering ballpark food. Now I did have a slice of pizza, and the slice of pizza was very good. I had pepperoni pizza. It was not overly priced. I mean, it was high for if you were doing it on the street corner, but it was that I will say it was not terrible. And the one beer that we had was very, very cold. So that would be my positive. We did get a text from somebody that said they were at Camden Yards last September and they hated it. Like the food was awful. Well, I don't even want to say this because we're a PG show. But anyway, so, I mean, it just depends on where you're going, I guess. But so there was my positive. The pizza was very good, and the beer was very cold. And that's probably more important than anything else.
Exactly. As long as the beer tasted okay for the $27 you paid for it.
Yeah, that's a good question. I actually didn't pay for that one, so I don't know how much it was. But they do give you the taller cans. Like, it's at least a 24-ounce can that you are getting. So you are getting more than a normal, 12-ounce can, I guess, that you would get in a six-pack or something like that. But that was good. I'll give them that. The pizza and the beer definitely was good. And on the concourse, they have, like, these small, high, tall boy tables that you can stand at to eat and still see the field. That was good because that got us out of the sun for a little bit. Like, we sat in the sun for the first 3 innings, and it did. The heat does not bother me, but it was hot. So we got out of there and went to the concourse for a few innings, and we're still able to watch the game, at least, because there wasn't that big of a crowd, and eat a piece of pizza and have the beer. And then by then, the shadows had crept into the stands a little bit where we could sit in the shade for the last 3 innings of a long 3-hour and 22-minute game that didn't have to be that long if the Phillies would have taken care of business.
No Nats baseball tonight. They are off. The Braves are hosting the White Sox in a meaningless...
Oh, your Braves? What do you think? They're coming, Matt. They're coming.
I don't even know who you're talking about.
Wow. They just swept the Guardians in Cleveland. They've won 8 out of 10. They're coming, Matt. Here they come.
They're hosting the White Sox tonight. Our coverage begins around 7 o'clock here on 106.1 ESPN.
See, they could make up a little more ground by playing, an awful team like the White Sox. They're still 10 games out of a wild card. How bad have the Braves been, Matt? If they are still 10 games out of a wild card, and they have won 5 in a row and 8 out of 10, and they're still 10 back.
Look at their rotation, Bob. That'll tell you how bad they've been.
They had guys I really didn't even know who they were over the last 3 days that won games for them. So maybe that's a peak of the future for the Braves. They got some guys that, they've brought up, and they actually won games for them this weekend against a quality team in Cleveland. So anyway, they're, my kids are being teased by it. My adult kids were texting last night, like, here's who they got coming up on the schedule. Maybe they can make up a few more games, and maybe this could get a little bit interesting. So I give them credit for at least a positive attitude.
Orioles are in Boston tonight. 7:10 is the start time for that one, as the Orioles are another team just kind of finishing out the stretch.
Yeah, man, they blitzed the Astros yesterday, like 12-0. I think they had 14 or 15 hits in that one. So you never know. And play of the week this week will be baseball kind of related, and it has to do with the Brewers and that 14-game winning streak that they had. I wonder how many guesses it would take to say, hey, who's got the best record in Major League Baseball? I know you at least follow it that casually. That probably wouldn't be that hard of a question to you, but I don't know that Milwaukee Brewers would be on the top 3 of too many people just casually following baseball. If you said who had the best record in Major League Baseball, would say the Milwaukee Brewers.
327-0888. That is the phone number. That is the text line. 804 is the area code. Let's take a time out. We'll talk a little college football after the break, and we'll get into some other stuff as well as we take you up until 5. You're listening to 106.1 ESPN.
Get in the zone, AutoZone.
Bob's had the same car, Betty, since high school, and that was a while ago. Bob's dealt with wipers, slow starts, and a few warning lights. And every time, Bob went to AutoZone, where a friendly AutoZoner helped with free services and the right parts to keep Bob and Betty on the road. No hassles, just help. Everything you need, nothing you don't.
Get in the zone, AutoZone.
Restrictions apply.
Progressive presents Employee of the Month. Small Business Edition. Today's recipient from Lucky Larry's Landscaping, Larry! Larry saved his business money with a quick commercial auto quote from Progressive. Does it help he's his own marketing manager, accountant, executive assistant, and never been late? Technically, yes, but saving really put him over the edge. So, Larry, give Larry a round of applause. Be your own Larry. See if you could save in as little as 8 minutes at ProgressiveCommercial.com. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates.
This is a special notice to U.S. taxpayers owing $10,000 or more to the IRS. Tax Relief Advocates is urgently notifying taxpayers that tax relief initiatives are now available that may significantly reduce or eliminate what you owe. If you're afraid of an IRS lien, levy, or wage garnishment, don't lose hope. You can now take advantage of these current relief programs to end all collections, reduce the amount you owe, and resolve your tax problem. Even if you have years of unfiled tax returns or are already in a payment plan, you may still qualify for significant relief. Struggling taxpayers can now get relief they need during these hard economic times. A hotline has been established by Tax Relief Advocates for you to call and see what you qualify for. They are A+ rated with the BBB and have over 1,000 5-star reviews. Don't wait. Call 800-575-7147. 800-575-7147. That's 800-575-7147. Or simply visit TRA.com.
Must qualify for enrollment. Results may vary.
Have you failed the DMV written test 3 times? DTW Driving School can help you, and it's easy. For $99, you can take the DTW Driving School DMV approved course online, and you can even save $10 by using the DTW Driving School online coupon. What's even better is you can take the course at your convenience. Get details at dtwdrivingschool.org. That's dtwdrivingschool.org. Register today, and DTW Driving School will get you back on track. Tune into the ESPN Richmond Herman Allen Sports Play of the Day, presented exclusively by Herman Allen Plumbing and Cooling, your premier Lennox dealer.
He loves sports. He loves talking about sports. And just like you, he's got a lucky jersey that hasn't been washed for 6 seasons.
It's gonna smell like hot dogs.
Jamie King is live weekday mornings from 7 to 8 on 106.1 ESPN Richmond.
Welcome back. 106.1 ESPN. Matt Josephs, Bob Black here for the Mashup Hour, taking up until 5 o'clock. And Bob, last year we had some fun with an exercise that one of ESPN's college football writers did. He did this SP Plus, which is a bunch of nerd numbers, and he ranked all the teams in all the college football levels against each other. And he did his preseason top 767. There are now 767 football programs in America, Bob.
At what levels?
All levels.
What does that mean? NAIA, D3,
included, all of
JUCO.
them. Yep, everything.
JUCO's in. Yeah, that's kind of a silly ranking, I would say. Maybe fun to talk about a little, but particularly I would call it silly.
Well, it's a exercise that I think people at least are interested somewhat in terms of it's funny because Ohio State is the number 1 team and New England College is the 767th team. And by his numbers, if they were to play each other, Ohio State would be a 147-point favorite in that game.
Again, like I said, it's a silly thing, but I guess it's kind of entertaining for people to take a look at. That's about the best I can give you on that one, Matt.
So for the state rankings, once again, much like we did those rankings on Thursday from Sporting News, Virginia Tech's the highest at 42 in the country. And so once again, Bob, another website that is optimistic about the Hokies this coming season.
It is kind of interesting. I feel like the local media, including ourselves, is probably a little bit higher on Virginia, wouldn't you say, than Virginia Tech? Is that fairly accurate?
That's very accurate.
Yeah, but that the national media seems to be a little bit more optimistic about Virginia Tech, which I don't know if that's just reputation preceding them or what it may be. I don't know, but it does seem to me like we've been talking up Virginia more than Virginia Tech, and then this isn't the first one of these kind of things in which I've seen the Hokies ahead of the Cavaliers.
And they are in between Georgia Tech and Duke. Georgia Tech is 41, Duke is 43. So they have Virginia Tech better than Duke, which obviously I am very against because I have Duke very high on my rankings. So they think Virginia Tech's the best team in the state. Then number 2 is JMU at 56.
Right behind Syracuse. So
right behind Syracuse,
So
yes.
go Orange.
4th in the group of 5 rankings. Those are the gray rankings that are there for those who are following along on the chart that he put out. Then he has Liberty at 72, which is interesting because I think people are a lot higher on Liberty than it seems like this list is.
I would hope as you jumble all those numbers and put them in the hopper there, as we talk about all the time, their week schedule probably comes into play somehow. In that, I don't know, and maybe that dropped them down a little bit. It still does have them over Virginia, though. I'll say that. 2
spots later is Virginia at 74. So that's right in the middle of a group of 5 run there, and only 4 spots better than North Dakota State of the FCS.
Yeah, I'm not sure if you had told me Virginia was 42 and Virginia Tech was 74. That I would have bought into that either, because I don't think you could put Virginia as high as 42. I think Tech being 42 is too high also. But I definitely don't think you could have flip-flopped them. So I certainly wouldn't have done that, to say the least. But so Virginia's significantly lower than Virginia Tech, significantly.
Yeah, ODU is 107. If you go down the list, and that is worse than 6 FCS schools. So ODU is 107th, 1 spot behind Purdue, who is 106. And then this is the shocker. The next state school is Richmond at 158, who are ahead of 6 FBS teams.
Why is that a shocker, Matt?
Well, seeing them ahead of 6 FBS teams, that's a little shocking.
I guess. I don't know. Again, I just find it kind of silly how this is all put together, to be honest with you. So, but why not? I mean, look at their record over the last 3. I know they haven't beaten an FBS, not in the last 3 years anyway, but, I mean, look at what they've done. Their record at their level is pretty darn good.
William & Mary's at 171, ahead of 3 FBS teams.
That's interesting. Yeah. That's probably more interesting than the Richmond thing, because William & Mary's getting no love this year. Just in the CAA and at the FCS level, they're not getting much love.
No, they didn't get any votes, I believe, in the top 25.
No,
And usually they get some at least.
Yeah.
But that maybe Mike London's happy about that. There's no one's talking about his team.
Sneak up on everybody, right?
Hampton is at 212, and then Virginia Union is at 252. So optimism for Virginia Union. They are ahead of Norfolk State, who's 265, and VMI, who's 299.
I have not read the story yet, so I shouldn't say there's a great story, but ESPN has a feature on Michael Vick, ESPN.com. I believe that's where I saw it. And kind of the start of his coaching career at Norfolk State and starting from scratch and all of that. And, say starting from scratch, that's probably why Norfolk State is as low as it is and below a Division II, right? You said Union was ahead of them?
Correct.
Yeah. I'll take some time and kind of read through that one as well and, see what kind of start he's off to there at Norfolk State.
Yes, Mark Schleybaugh wrote the article, and part of the title is I Didn't Even Have a Kicker.
Kicker, right. That tells you something right there, doesn't it?
Yeah. That he's got to go find somebody to kick field goals for his team. Yeah. All right, and then so I did VMI's at 299, 5 spots ahead of Virginia State. So if Virginia State played VMI, Bob, it would be about a coin flip between the two of them.
I think it could be a toss-up. As good as Virginia State has been, and VMI won just 1 game last year, we know how hard it is there, and. Again, there's another interesting story. I was thinking about this the other day. Somebody did a story on them not opting in to the House settlement and not paying their players, which I think on the surface, most people would say, yeah, that's probably right. Why would VMI pay their players? I think it would create great unrest on post with the non-football players, but maybe that's something that would help VMI. Maybe they could dangle a few bucks in front of their guys to come play and continue to play football at VMI. If they change their mind on that next year, I think that would be fascinating, Matt, because I don't know that at VMI you can do that and just pay your football players who they pride themselves on. A football player is no different than a rat, who's no different than a junior, at VMI. But that's why another one of the reasons they're so low. But to your point, yes, that would be a toss-up game between them and Virginia State.
I mean, at some point, do we have to consider just dropping football at VMI, or do they make enough money that it at least is worth it, even if they're not going to be good at it?
I don't think they make enough money, but I think their alumni is too proud to drop it. I mean, when they moved out of the SoCon the first time, their alumni were not happy about it. They knew they were getting their brains beaten in, but they didn't want to move. And, theoretically, it was a move down to the Big South and where they could win more, and they did for a certain period of time. And then they went back to the SoCon, and, because their alumni are just so proud. And I get it. If you go through VMI, you're going to have a strong backbone. You are going to have some passion and some pride. So what you say makes an awful lot of sense, I think, to the non-VMI Kedet, to just the outside observer. But I don't think it's going to happen. I would love to see them try this pay-for-play thing. If the rest of that, I would call it campus, they call it post. But if the rest of that community would buy in, pardon the expression, to them paying their football players something, maybe they could be a little bit more competitive. But I don't know if VMI does that. To me, it sounds like it goes everything against the principles of being a VMI Kedet.
Well, and I just think they recruit a certain person. Like, you're not going to go out there and get 4 or 5-star kids unless they want the military background. And if they're going to want the military background, they're going to go to Navy or Army or Air Force.
Yeah, and part of it to me, and the reason I would do it, is to try and retain them also. Because I think they do get some decent guys, but then they're there a year. They hate the rat line. They had some, little bit of success maybe individually, at least on the football field, and off they go. Whereas if I could, pay them something to stay, and again, most FCS programs are not doing that. So the point is almost moot. I mean, they're not paying players at Richmond or William & Mary, let alone at VMI. But I just thought about it. I'm like, that might be the carrot that they need to dangle in front of some of these people, some of these kids. But I don't think they're going to. I don't think they'll. If they buy in, it will probably be for, basketball or baseball or something like that. I don't know if they would. I would love to see them try it. Let me put it that way, because, just losing game after game after game. Here we are talking about them in a toss-up game with a Division II team.
Yeah, and they always play. They play an FBS opponent, and yes, that helps the revenue out. But they usually lose by a lot, and so it's a tough way to live. They open up the season at Navy, and that's not going to go very well probably on August 30th.
I agree with you. It's not going to go very well. You're absolutely right.
But they will be on the CBS Sports Network, so that at least helps them if somebody wants to find out a little bit more about Lexington and VMI.
It is a great community. They have great people there. I have known them for a long, long time. Danny Rocco, obviously, was Richmond's coach and Liberty's coach and Delaware's coach, and trying to do it at VMI, and it's not an easy thing to do. And, it's kind of a program I root for as much as I possibly can, other than when they're playing Richmond. But it's because I do think it is really hard there. But they do have some really good people, and Lexington, Virginia is a beautiful little town. Beautiful little college town. If you ever go visit, it's outstanding.
Let's wrap things up on this list. So Randolph-Macon is at 365.
Wow. But that's only about halfway, right?
Yeah, it's around halfway, slightly past halfway. Yeah,
that's not bad, right, for a Division III.
Yeah, they're better than a lot of Division IIs. So that's it's optimism for the program.
Yeah, no, that's actually pretty respectful, I would think, for Randolph-Macon. They're fairly high up there amongst the Division IIIs. They're in green in this thing. They're certainly in the top 20, that's for sure.
CNU is 466. Washington and Lee is 479, and Hampton-Sydney is our lowest team at 566.
doesn't put much stock in the game at the end of the year, then does it, between Randolph-Macon and Hampden-Sydney? I guess those programs have gone apart a little bit here, huh, with Randolph-Macon having the success they've had.
Yeah, that's for sure. Certainly Hampden-Sydney has struggled the last couple of years, but of course...
wait a minute, what do you have them at? I think I found one lower than them.
566.
Yeah, Southern Virginia, Matt, is at 734.
Aha. Where is Southern Virginia, Bob?
In Southern Virginia.
Well, thank you. Is there a city of... I don't think there's a Southern...
There is, but I must admit, I don't think I've been there. I'm like going to embarrass myself a little bit here because, my son played Division III baseball at Roanoke, and I got to believe they played
Buena Vista.
Buena Vista. I may have been there, and I don't even remember it, to be honest with you. But, yes, it's a ways down there.
So if Southern Virginia played Virginia Tech, it would be a 100-point spread at least, probably, that game.
Right. But what a rivalry game that would be.
Let's take our final timeout. We'll wrap things up on a Monday. You're listening to 106.1 ESPN.
Your fantasy draft is here. The Smack Talk is starting, and this season, ESPN Bet is giving you more ways to ride with your squad. Introducing ESPN Bet Fan Center, where you can instantly link and bet on your fantasy teams right in the ESPN Bet app. An enhanced sports betting experience only from ESPN Bet, the sports book for sports fans. Download the app today. Must be 21 plus. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. In New York, call 877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY 467-369.
With Robinhood, not only can you trade individual stocks and ETFs, you can also seamlessly buy and sell crypto at low costs. Trade all in one place. Get started now on Robinhood. Trading crypto involves significant risk. Crypto trading is offered through an account with Robinhood Crypto LLC. Robinhood Crypto is licensed to engage in virtual currency business activity by the New York State Department of Financial Services. Crypto held through Robinhood Crypto is not FDIC insured or SIPC protected. Investing involves risk, including loss of principal. Securities trading is offered through an account with Robinhood Financial LLC, member SIPC, a registered broker-dealer.
Join Mark Patrick's seminars and lose the weight or stop smoking guaranteed early bird special, $49.99. Seminars Thursday, August 21st, Comfort Suites at Virginia Center Commons, Glen Allen. Weight loss 5:30 p.m., stop smoking 8 p.m. Or Saturday, August 23rd, Hilton Garden Inn, Colonial Heights. Weight loss 11 a.m., stop smoking 2 p.m.
Summer's winding down, and so is soccer season in the RVA. Make your plans now to catch the next Richmond Kickers home game Saturday, August 23rd versus 1 Knoxville SC. Help the Kickers celebrate the 30th anniversary of the Open Cup Championship at City Stadium. Gates open at 6 p.m. for a 7 p.m. start, so make sure to stop by early for happy hour beverage specials and sample RVA's best variety of food trucks. Reserve your tickets today at richmondkickers.com. And don't forget, at Kickers games, dogs are always welcome.
Big news. Mechanicsville Kia is opening this October, and we're hiring for all positions. Whether you're a seasoned pro or just starting out, if you value honesty, accountability, and exceptional service, we want you on our team. This is your chance to grow with a dealership built on integrity, teamwork, and a commitment to putting people first. Customers, employees, and our community. Apply today at mechanicsvillekia.com. That's mechanicsvillekia.com. Mechanicsville Kia. Trust at every turn.
Shop local and gear up at Green Top Sporting Goods. Whether you're grilling, fishing, or upgrading your wardrobe, we've got all your favorites under one roof. Looking for firearms? Check out the latest new and used models in stock now. Independently owned and trusted since day one, Green Top has what you need to make the most of the great outdoors. Come experience the tradition. Just off I-95, exit 86B. Green Top Sporting Goods, Virginia's outdoor headquarters.
If you need sports talk that fits the bill, well, I've got you covered. I'm Jack Fitzpatrick, and every weekday from 8 to 10 a.m. on ESPN Richmond, we're breaking down the biggest stories and talking all things sports and beyond. Tune in and let's get after it.
All right, got about 90 seconds, Bob. Did you see we got a text that has a suggestion for our top 5 this year?
No, what's that?
They want us to include an FCS team if one of the top 5 is worthy of falling out of the top 5.
I like that. What do you think?
I mean, I have no problem. I mean, we essentially did a 4 last year and forgot one of the teams like halfway through the season, so why not?
So I was only thinking about this really quickly the other day. I don't know when it came up, but there are 5 FBSs, right?
Correct.
Are there just 5 FCSs? I think that's all I came up with. I know the music is playing and we're running out of time, but right, Richmond, William & Mary, VMI, Hampton, Norfolk State. Am I missing somebody?
I don't think you are.
Yes, I think we've got a top 5 FBS, top 5 FCS if you want to do that. And I like that idea of moving an FCS into the other ranking if they're qualified for it, if they're good enough.
Relegation and demotion, Bob? Is that what we're doing?
I like that.
We're going to become soccer?
I'm never going to say that, Matt, but yeah, I guess that's kind of what we're doing here.
We could certainly do that, and we'll do our first one next week as the preseason one and see where everybody kind of lines up before the season begins.
Okay, I'm in on that. Speaking of FCS, Russ Huseman, Richmond head coach, joins us right after the Sports Center update here at 5, Matt.
I'll talk to you tomorrow, 3 until 4. We'll do the Mashup Hour all over again at 4. Stick around through the break, 106.1 ESPN.
Call Herman Allen Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling at 804-746-5853 today to learn more about their award-winning Lennox product offerings.
Summertime in RVA means one thing. Golf season is here. If you're looking for the perfect golf course, head over to Queenfield Golf Club, located just a few minutes east of Mechanicsville. Queenfield offers a beautifully secluded 18-hole course, spacious driving range, and professionally maintained practice greens and bunkers. Schedule your tee time today by calling 804-769-8838 or reserve a spot online at queenfieldgolf.com and make Queenfield Golf Club your new favorite course.
Horse racing is back, and it's time to get ready for another Triple Crown season. Get the latest from the industry every Saturday morning from 10 to 11 with Off to the Races on 106.1 ESPN. Presented by The Racing Biz. Nick Hahn and Frank Vesby bring you their insight and knowledge, talking with the people making the headlines, including jockeys, trainers, and owners. Plus, get the expert picks each week, including a visit by Derby Bill Watson. It's Off to the Races each Saturday morning at 10 on 106.1 ESPN. Streaming live on the iHeartRadio app.
How would you like a free dinner? That's right, a free dinner. Hi, I'm Jeff Trice with the Insurance Doctor, and I've been telling you for years how nobody beats the Insurance Doctor's prices. And now I'll prove it. Just bring your current auto insurance policy into the Insurance Doctor location nearest you, and if we can't beat your price, I'll buy you dinner at the restaurant of your choice. So now is the perfect time to shop your auto insurance, because I'll either save you a ton of money on your car insurance or dinner's on me. Either way, you get paid. Our competitors like to say they can save you money on your car insurance, but only the Insurance Doctor has a low price guarantee. So no matter who you're with, we will beat their price. It's guaranteed. Oh, and by the way, I'll throw in your own personal agent for free. Just bring your current auto insurance policy into the Insurance Doctor location nearest you. I'll either save you a ton of money on your car insurance or dinner's on me. So call us today and see why I say nobody beats the Insurance Doctor.
Join Mark Patrick's seminars and lose the weight or stop smoking early bird special, $49.99. Seminars Thursday, August 21st, Comfort Suites at Virginia Center Commons, Glen Allen. Weight loss 5:30 p.m., stop smoking 8 p.m. Or Saturday, August 23rd, Hilton Garden Inn, Colonial Heights. Weight loss 11 a.m., stop smoking 2 p.m.
Do you want a shot at $50,000? Bull Rush just launched the NFL Survivor, a $100,000 total prize pool sports picking competition. Survive 20 weeks, finish first, and take home $50K. Join now at bullrush.com/ESPN.
Don't miss the Green Top Outdoor Expo, sponsored by Daniel Defense, the Mid-Atlantic event for hunting, fishing, and outdoor enthusiasts. October 4th and 5th, over 225 vendors featuring Daniel Defense, Cal Colta Outdoors, and Realtree. Details at greentop.com.
This is Freddie and Harry on ESPN Radio and the ESPN app.
Big Mike in Texas. Are the Dallas Cowboys still considered a desirable destination to play? What say you?
Mama, don't let your baby grow up to be a cowboy. Let them grow up to be Ravens and Niners or something. Anything but the Cowboys.
Check out more from Freddie and Harry weekdays at 3 Eastern on ESPN Radio and the ESPN app. Amber and Ian.
I believe very strongly that there's other life out there. I question the fact that the evidence that we always get from the random people who claim that they visited their home, the video is always super grainy. It's like Bigfoot. We all have cameras now. Well, I will go on record saying that if an alien ever visits my home, I will ensure that I will get
Great
good
video.
That is my promise.
Amber and Ian. Weeknights at 7 Eastern on ESPN Radio.
You don't need to get a second job as a stuntman to save money.
We need a new stuntman.
You just need feedthepig.org. Don't get left behind. Get tips and tools at feedthepig.org. Brought to you by the American Institute of CPAs and the Ad Council.
From the Bull Rush ESPN studios.
Learn more at bullrush.com/ESPN.
W291CL Lakeside Richmond. WURV HD2 Richmond. We are 106.1 ESPN.
This is Sports Center.
I'm Christine Lisi. Breaking baseball news. Phillies ace Zach Wheeler had surgery today to remove a blood clot in his upper right arm. A timeline for his return remains unclear. Rams quarterback Matthew Stafford made his much-anticipated return from a back injury to practice. Today was the first time at camp he practiced. When asked for his confidence level in Stafford being ready for the season opener, Coach Sean McVay replied he thinks that would be putting the cart way before the horse. As Coach Kevin Stefanski had been indicating, the Browns named Joe Flacco their starting quarterback for Week 1. ESPN NFL analyst Dan Orlovsky.
I understand it. I would have gone with one of the rookies if I was Cleveland. I kind of know who Joe is and what I'm going to get with Joe. He'll be a competitive and good football team. It doesn't answer anything of the future at that position for the Cleveland Browns, but at least that gives them confidence that they have a capable player at that position.
The rookies, Dylan Gabriel and Shedeur Sanders, as well as Kenny Pickett, all vying for the backup job in Cleveland. Ohio State named Julian Sayin its starting quarterback for the August 30th season opener against Texas.
Hey, it's your resident Super Bowl champ Chris Candy coming up Tuesday. I'll tell you the 5 teams most likely to improve this upcoming season. It's Unsportsmanlike weekday mornings at 6, right here on ESPN Radio, ESPN2, and ESPNU.
From the capital of the Commonwealth, this is the Sports Huddle with Bob Black on 106.1 ESPN. We're also streaming live at ESPNRichmond.com and on the iHeartRadio app. Call in and talk with Bob anytime at 327-0888. Now, here's Bob Black with the Sports Huddle on 106.1 ESPN.
Welcome back, or welcome to the 5 o'clock hour of our local live sports talk on 106.1 ESPN. Bob Black with you here on a cloudy, overcast Monday afternoon, but not the worst thing after the heat and humidity that we had over the weekend. And by welcome back, I think that phrase was probably uttered a lot around our greater Richmond area this morning. Congrats to the youngsters who went back to school today. First day of school for most school districts in our listening area. And maybe that congrats should be going to the parents more than to the kids and more to the students. Once they got over the emotion of putting them back on the school bus and sending them back to class today, reality has set in for those youngsters and for the parents as well. And I'm an old school kind of guy, pardon the expression there, old school. But the post-Labor Day was the world I lived in, both as a youngster and as a parent. So this is all kind of new with classes starting a couple of weeks before Labor Day. I think I liked it better the other way, but I don't really have a dog in the fight at this point. So anyway, to all the youngsters, good luck in your school year, and to all the parents, it starts a little bit of a new era for you today with the youngsters out of the house. All right, thanks for joining us for the Sports Huddle 106.1 ESPN. Bob Black with you here on a Monday afternoon. Got so much to get into at this point with the Commanders playing tonight. And for those of you who are watching on our live video stream, since we've been doing this on Mondays when Jordan's been producing, and it's kind of our mastermind behind the video streaming, I've tried to put a different stadium in the background because I'm not in the studio today on Monday. So the first week, I can't even remember. I think I put Truist Park up there, the Braves when it was the All-Star game. I've put Citizens Bank Park up there. I put the Brewers Stadium up last week because they were on that winning streak. Going to get that out in a little while. So today I diverted from baseball, and I've got Northwest Stadium, an aerial shot of one of the worst stadiums in all of sports. We've been saying that for several years, not just because we do think a new stadium is coming for them pretty soon, but it is just one of the ugliest looking, worst stadiums to go to in all the professional sports. If you ask me, I've had my own miserable experience there as well. But from high above, I don't know if that's like a helicopter shot or a drone shot or something like that. It doesn't look too bad. There'll be a few more people in it than the empty stadium tonight when the Commanders play the Cincinnati Bengals in their second preseason game, and probably a little bit more of a vibe tonight because, as Dan Quinn has mentioned, he is going to play some of the regulars for a series or two. We presume that includes Jaden Daniels. It will not include Brian Robinson, the running back, who seems like he's on the outs with the Commanders, that he's on the trade block. There were plenty of reports over the weekend that they were shopping him around, and I guess if they can't find a suitor, they might just release him and go in several different directions when it comes to the running back room. So he's not playing tonight. So it's not even as if they want to get another evaluation of him. He's not even playing in that game tonight. So we'll see from the Commanders. But it's worth watching tonight, so tune in early this evening to catch exhibition game number 2 for Washington, as some of those regulars, some of the starters will play tonight. Obviously, Terry McLaurin still not in uniform. We'll see what happens this week. Now that he's off the PUP list, the physically unable to perform list, he should be out there at practice when the Commanders get back to practice and start to get ready for the Ravens game, which will be the third and final preseason game. And again, if you missed it from last week, they are not going to do a joint practice this week, so they'll just practice on their own and play the game this coming weekend. So, but first things first, Commanders and Bengals tonight at Northwest Stadium. All right, as I mentioned in the 4 o'clock hour, to start the 5 o'clock hour, as we've been doing the last several weeks since football camps began, we've been doing some Spider Sound. On Mondays, we did the opening press conference when practice started. We gave you some sound after the post-scrimmage, the first scrimmage, and then the Spider scrimmage for the second time on Saturday. We didn't do any post-scrimmage sound because we've got Russ Huseman on the line, Spider head coach, with us to join us live to talk about that and look ahead as the season is now within 2 weeks of starting. Russ, thanks for dialing us up. How you doing?
Doing good, Bob. How you doing?
Doing fine, thanks. When John O'Connor and I peppered you with questions after the first scrimmage, one of the things you said, well, I'll be able to give you a better idea after I watch the tape. So here we are after the second scrimmage, and this time you've had a chance to watch it live, and I know by now you have studied that tape. So what have you seen from the second scrimmage that maybe was different from the first? In watching it, a little bit different of a feel, a little more game-like. You had referees out there, did some special teams things. What did you take away from it?
Well, just like every time, the whole camp. I mean, there's good and bad. If somebody does really good, then somebody's not doing real good. So you're evaluating people against people, and it's your own team. But I think we're coming along. I think we are improving as a team. Some of our young guys, I think, are coming along, which they're going to have to big time. But we got a decent amount of snaps in there on Saturday, and got some special teams sprinkled in there. So, we'll see. We're going to be young in some spots, but it's kind of what happens here nowadays in college football. You're going to have to play young guys, and we're going to.
Just so I don't get off on the wrong foot with you this year, Coach, I will start by talking special teams then before we get to the offense and the defense. But to pick up on your point of being young, at the moment it looks like you've got a freshman place kicker and a freshman punter. Well, what type of anxieties, as good as they may be, what type of anxieties does that give you?
Oh, man, I won't be breathing very hard when we call for either punt or field goal. But our Aussie punter is really good. He's talented. He's got a great sense about him. He's very similar to Trussler. And, we're pretty fortunate to have him. He's been pretty smooth out there, and he looks really good. He can hit it. He's got a strong leg, great hang time on the ball. So feel really good there. With the kicking game, PAT field goals, hadn't been what we wanted this camp. We've been very erratic. Now, one guy that we wanted to compete for the job was Jaden Alshevsky. He's going into his 5th year, and we wanted him to compete. He's had a hip flexor injury here. I think tomorrow he'll kick for the first time in about a week, and so we want to get that competition going with all the guys we got kicking. And our kickoff guy Will McManus has done a really nice job kicking the ball. We got to get our field goal operation squared away, and we got to have the ability to make 40-yarders. It's probably not going to be like last year, getting the 50, 52-yarders. But, when you got the gimmies 40 and in, you got to have them.
Well, you'd rather have touchdowns than field goals anyway. So let's talk offensively. And for whatever reason, my eyes were drawn a little bit more to the wide receivers, Russ, in this scrimmage. I wonder from your perspective what you're seeing, out of those guys, out of that room, and how deep a position that may or may not be for you.
Well, our top 3 guys, Javion Griffin, Jaden Fair, and Ye Vini are all 3 really playing well at a high level and feel really good about them. Trey Mancuso was coming on, but he hurt himself a little bit. He's been out for about a week, and it'll be a few more days for him. But a guy that really has stood out is Isaiah Dawson. He's electric. He's picking up the offense. He's a redshirt freshman. We'll get the ball in his hands. I think he'll surprise some people this year with how dynamic he is. He's going to return kicks for us this year. So really, really, really pleased with the direction he's coming. And then the rest of them, it's a battle for the 5th, 6th, 7th spots. You got guys battling. We got 2 freshmen right now that we think could be ready to go if need be. So we feel good. We've got a lot of players, a lot of depth, but not a lot of experience there right now.
Anything new out of that tailback rotation? Jamal Brown, Andrew King, Aziz Foster Powell really seemed to split the carries, at least in the scrimmage on Saturday.
Yeah, Aziz dropped a lot of weight. He actually looks like he's running really well right now. Smart, physical player, knows the offense, blocks well when it's his time to block. But he looked good running the football camp. And then Jamal Brown has looked really, really good running it. We'll play, now I'm missing somebody.
Andrew
here.
King. Andrew King.
He'll be good. Well, those 3 guys will probably, divvy up carries and see who's got the hot hand and who's practiced well that week. Those types of things. But, we knew Andrew was going to be fine. We knew Jamal Brown was going to be good. But Aziz is the one, with his weight down, he looks really, really good. And then the freshman, Michael Creamer, I think is a very talented player.
Yep. Maybe Aziz is the X factor in that running back room this season. The new look, Aziz Foster Powell, obviously, as you mentioned. Defense is strong year in and year out under defensive coordinator Justin Wood. What do you like best about what you've seen from the defense?
We're pretty good up front 7, really good. Got a lot of experience between T.J. Baldwin, Matei Fitz. Matei Fitz will be the bell cow in there. And then Braxton Lassiter played a lot last year as a true freshman. We preserved, his year there, and he only played in 4 games. But, he got a little dinged up towards the end there. But, feel really good about those 3 guys. We're still in the process of trying to number 4 at tackle. And then at end, got Donnie Hollett back. He's still kind of working through the knee, to feel really as strong as he possibly can. Cam Bird's an all-conference, all-American type of player. He had a fantastic year last year for us. Jamar Hodges showed up last year for us. Daniel Sellers, who didn't play last year, will be in the rotation. He's a big, strong, physical guy. And then we got 2 older guys Juan Theos Figueroa is in the mix there, and then we've moved Zion Bryson inside to try to get a fourth defensive tackle. He's a little undersized, but he's a tough kid. Knows how to play the game, smart. So we can, you can survive sometimes with a little lighter guy in there. But our front four, we've got a lot of depth, a lot of really quality players. And at linebacker, obviously Carter Glassmeyer's back, and then Peyton Seelman has looked fantastic in camp. He played as a true freshman last year, and he'll be the Mike linebacker, and he looks really good. And then on the outside, Tayshawn Burney, the transfer from Wake Forest, is playing our outside nickel guy, and then Harrison Wood is a really good player out there, and he'll play a lot this year for us.
Very strong front seven, as you mentioned. Catching up with Richmond football coach Russ Huesman. We're a little bit less than 2 weeks now to opening day, opening in the Patriot League at defending champ Lehigh. Kind of weird. We've got a battle of defending champions in a league game. Of course, the Spiders coming over from the CAA, and Lehigh won the Patriot League last year. Russ, I assume it's the same with most teams at this point. I know you gave the guys kind of the day away from football and off today. As you get back, get at it again tomorrow, does this now almost become an expanded game week for game one of the season, whether it's Richmond playing Lehigh or anybody else in the country? Is that kind of prevailing way of doing this, is that you take a little bit more time to prepare for game one?
No, we are still kind of in camp mode, still trying to establish, the depth chart, still trying to compete against each other. Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday this week. Friday, we'll start Lehigh prep. Now, coaches are in the office today, really studying more of Lehigh. We broke them down in the summertime, but really they're kind of grinding a little bit about Lehigh. So, in the office, anytime we're not, grading practice film, we are peaking at Lehigh quite a bit, and then we will introduce them on Friday to the team. So we'll have a Friday, Saturday practice on Lehigh, and then obviously normal game week starting, the Tuesday. That gives you, and that's normally kind of what you do on an open day. You start preparing for the next opponent when you do have the open date on that, that Friday and Saturday. So it gives you a couple extra days, and that's probably all you need.
All right, I'll finish it up with you with a question I know you don't like anyway, but why not? What the heck? I think this is year number 44 for you in coaching, but who's counting? How's the head coach feeling going into the season? How are you ready to go?
I actually feel really good. No aches and pains. I've been sleeping good during camp. So I feel really, really good. Just excited, for this year. It'll be a fun year. What makes you feel good is when you really like your team. And I like this team a lot. They're hard workers. They're attentive. They compete. They love each other. And when you go out on the field every day, I've been with teams before in my day, and you walk out on the field and you go, oh, God, I don't want to look at that dude again. I don't want to see that guy again. This team is fun to be around. We're getting some really nice leadership from them. But I think the one thing is our culture is fantastic. The locker room's incredible. And that kept us in it last year. If you don't have a great culture, we lost a couple early and, it could have been fractured, but they hung in there together and they believed in each other. And I think that's the case again this year. I really like our team. I like our coaches a lot. That's a good start, and that makes you want to go out to practice. That makes you want to come in the office every day, and kind of keeps the aches and pains and the illness away here. So I'm feeling pretty good. How are you feeling?
I'm
wearing
wearing
this for you now.
It's close to that, actually. I think it's 42, maybe 43. So you're a little ahead of me still. I don't think I'm going to catch you, Russ. I don't think I'm going to catch you.
You'll catch me. You're going to be doing this for the next 20 years.
Oh, I don't know about that, Coach. I could say the same thing to you, and you'd shake your head also, side to side.
Yeah.
Awesome. Hey, I'm looking forward to doing this in person with you, though, Russ. Starting Thursday, September 4, we'll be back at Bar West for lunch and the Behind the Web Coaches Show. So looking forward to that.
I can't wait to go back there. I love the food. You've been hyping them up, and those people are really friendly over there.
Yep.
Really excited to get back there.
All right. Look forward to seeing you on the field.
How about I heard you guys? Hey, Bob, I heard you guys on talking about the Bengals and the Commanders here. I'm kind of torn there now in this one, and thank goodness it's not a regular season game. But I love my Bengals.
Yeah, I know.
But I also love my Commanders with Danny Quinn coaching them.
There you go.
So so that one it doesn't mean anything, obviously. So, but if it meant something, then I'd be really torn on that.
Because you have a background with Coach Quinn, don't you?
Yeah, we worked together. He worked for me at William and Mary. Back in the day.
Yeah.
Great dude. He used to cut my hair back in the day.
He's kind of bald, if I'm not mistaken. What does he know about cutting hair, for crying out loud?
He wasn't bald back in those days.
I guess not.
Neither one of us were, so we had to get haircuts.
There you go.
I'd always have him over. I'd treat him to my house for dinner multiple times, a bunch of times. He'd cut my hair, and that's kind of how I paid him. Because he was, at the time, I think he was a volunteer coach with us, not making anything. And, he was fantastic, though. Great guy.
And now look where you both are today. That's awesome. That's great stuff. All right, Russ, thanks. See you around the Robins Center and out on the field before too long.
All right, Bob, see you.
There you go. Russ Huesman, Spider head coach. Less than 2 weeks away from kickoff. Of course, you'll hear that here as well on the home of the Spiders. 11:30 airtime on Saturday, the 30th of August, and a high noon kick for the season and Patriot League opener for the Spiders and Lehigh. All right, we went long with that conversation, so let's squeeze all this in. I'll talk as quickly as I can and tell you what we got coming up in the remaining time on the Monday Sports Huddle.
These are this afternoon's top sports stories.
I'm sure he'll be fascinated by all the stories you have to tell.
This is today's Drive Home Headlines.
If you are a regular listener, particularly on Mondays, you know what's coming up. We'll do a real short segment here after the break. And then at the bottom of the hour, our auto racing coverage brought to you by the Insurance Doctor. It'll be my favorite one of the year, I'm sure, because Jordan's going to recap the race from Richmond, which was terrific on Saturday night with a sellout crowd. Austin Dillon qualifying for the playoffs, an emotional win back-to-back at Richmond Raceway. So a lot of great stuff there. You'll hear from Dillon at the end of the race, and then Jordan will give us his eyewitness perspective on that. So really looking forward to our auto racing coverage coming up here at the bottom of the hour. And then our Herman Allen Sports Play of the Week. Probably the old adage, all good things must come to an end. And one of those things did in Major League Baseball yesterday, but not without some drama. And that'll be a part of our Herman Allen Sports Play of the Week coming up at 5:45. Let's catch up real quick here. Thank you for locking in and joining us today. Sports Huddle 106.1 ESPN.
A duo that's perfect together. That's Herman Allen Plumbing, Heating and Cooling, and Lennox. Herman Allen is your local Lennox dealer, and they're committed to making your family's home comfort their top priority. With a wide assortment of Lennox products to offer, Herman Allen Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling will ensure your home's air is perfect for your family. Call today at 804-746-5853 or visit online at HermanAllenPlumbing.com to learn more about how you can experience expert service and care.
Hey, it's Crash Gladys from Speed Freaks. Are you still paying full price for gas? Stop leaving money behind. Get real cash back every time you fill up with the free Upside app. Simply download the free Upside app in the App Store or Google Play right now and start earning cash at the pump today. Use limited time promo code SUMMER and get an extra 25 cents back per gallon on your first fill up. Listeners are making $200 to $300 a year just from buying the gas they already needed. Don't wait. Download the free Upside app now and use promo code SUMMER to redeem your 25 cent per gallon bonus. That's promo code SUMMER Yeah, at first I thought it was too good to be true, but it's completely legit. Plus, you can cash out anytime. Don't let this offer drive on by. Download the free Upside app now by using limited time promo code SUMMER. That's promo code SUMMER for a limited time 25 cents per gallon bonus. Offers vary by user and location. Go to upside.com for terms and conditions.
2 hours ago, Kyle arrived at the bar.
Hey, what's everyone drinking?
30 minutes ago, Kyle got his friends another round of drinks.
Cheers!
5 minutes ago, Kyle decided to drive home drunk. A minute ago, a law enforcement officer pulled up behind Kyle.
Sir, have you been drinking tonight?
A chain of events that began 2 hours ago is about to change Kyle's whole world. Drive sober or get pulled over. Paid for by NHTSA.
Gain a global perspective and specialized skills that many of today's top employers are seeking with an MBA from University of Maryland Global Campus. Study online and complete your degree in just 16 months for about $21K. Choose from MBA specializations in global business, marketing, HR, finance, and more. No application fee if you apply by September 3rd. Learn more at umgc.edu. That's umgc.edu. Certified to operate in Virginia by Chev.
Serving Richmond and beyond for over 20 years, Bonaire Shell features a full line of automotive services. Check out BonaireShell.com, loaded with coupons, specials, and more to see all that they can do for your car and your peace of mind. And now with their Fuel Rewards program, you can save at least 5 cents per gallon on every fill-up. Learn more at FuelRewards.com. Go see the team at Bonaire Shell, 8762 West Huguenot Road. Go to BonaireShell.com or call them at 272-3232. That's 272-3232.
Join Mark Patrick's seminars and lose the weight or stop smoking guaranteed early bird special $49.99. Seminars Thursday, August 21st. Comfort Suites at Virginia Center Commons, Glen Allen. Weight loss 5:30 p.m. Stop smoking 8 p.m. Or Saturday, August 23rd. Hilton Garden Inn, Colonial Heights. Weight loss 11 a.m. Stop smoking 2 p.m.
106.1 ESPN, home of Border to Border with Matt Josephs. Dive into Virginia's hottest sports topics daily. Agree or argue.
Matt's got the takes you can't ignore.
Welcome back. A couple things in this segment. Short one here before we get to the auto racing coverage and the Richmond race coming at a little past 5:30 or so with Jordan. I know he's already chomping at the bit to talk about it, and certainly understandably so. I am bumming a little bit. Look, we like to be live local sports talk, and Matt and I go overboard talking Philly sports because we're both from there. But the Zach Wheeler news really kind of bumming me out a little bit. Although I'm going to be glass half full more than empty kind of guy. So this blood clot thing, really concerning for him, just individually for his health moving forward. Not even considering baseball, but anytime you hear blood clot, you get worried. And they did do surgery. It was on the ESPN Sports Center update, the top of the hour. And that's even more concerning to me, having been through a surgery this year and knowing that surgery is normally the last option. Like, you want to try and do everything you can, and surgery is kind of the last resort to take care of the issue. So obviously the medical profession felt as though whatever else they had done to include medicine and rehab and therapy wasn't going to cure the blood clot, get rid of that blood clot, and that they had to do the surgery. So I can't imagine he's going to pitch again at all this season, regular season or postseason. But look, I'm still going to be glass half full. The Spiders have the Phillies have great depth at that pitching position. And look, it goes way beyond that he pitches only once every 5 days, but that is the math of it. You know, Bryce Harper plays 7 out of 7 games every week, pretty much, or Trey Turner or Kyle Schwarber, but Zach Wheeler only helps you win a game on the field, once a week, maybe twice a week, every 5th or 6th day. So that's what the Phillies have to make up at this point. And, of course, they've got a 5-game lead in the National League East to work with, but a lot of games coming up with those Mets. And I know we got a lot of Met callers, but they've got 7 games left with the Mets. So do that math also. 5-game lead, 7 games to go. And don't forget about those surging Braves who have won 9 out of 11, by the way. I was reprimanded by a Braves fan, not one of my kids, who said, hey, they've won 9 out of 11, which is accurate. They have, but they've also won 8 out of 10, which is what I said. So I was accurate, and I try not to give the Braves too much credit anyway. So, but they have won 9 out of 11, and they play the White Sox starting a series tonight. All right, one more thing, and then we'll get the break, and then Jordan coming up. We'll give him as much time as possible on the Richmond race. Today was the day that Whit Babcock met with the board of visitors at Virginia Tech to show them all the PowerPoint slides and explain to them where they are financially as it stacks up against the rest of the ACC and nationally, and what Virginia Tech has to do in terms of money and resources to remain competitive. And it was, from what I read and heard from people like Andy Bitter and David Teal, who I guess were either allowed to be at it or got the information, probably a public session because they are a state university. It went 61 minutes, and then he answered questions from the Board of Visitors. So, I mean, as an athletic director, this is a really important presentation. And I'm going to use the word presentation. I'm going to disagree with my buddy Matt Josephs here. And I said it to him when we brought it up last week. I find it actually a little bit disrespectful to be saying he went begging for money. This was way more than him begging for money. This was potentially changing the way Virginia Tech does business when it comes to athletics and educating the people that will help shape the way they do business moving forward. So I would say he made a presentation to the board. And yes, certainly more money is the crux of the matter, but how they gain that capital is just as important. And he certainly resonated and hit home. Andy Bitter quoted one of the Board of Visitors, the vice rector, in fact, Sandy Davis, who said, "I don't ever want to see Virginia Tech at the bottom, underneath our peers. We need to put our thinking caps on. We don't want to be the lowest one on the scale." So from that perspective, I would say Whit Babcock did his job today. David Teal said Babcock tells the board, "Our resources don't match our expectations." I'll bet that resonated with the board as well. And repeated his prediction, and Matt and I have talked about this a lot, that the Big Ten and the SEC will actually follow the ACC's lead on the revenue distribution, where you get more the more successful you are, and how important that is in the ACC, success on the field, on the court, and also the eyeballs that you get on national television. So he brought that up as well. And then one of the most revealing things that he said, and we've talked about this, that if Tech doesn't do better in football, doesn't do better in basketball, are we changing coaches or are we changing athletic directors? And I think Whit Babcock kind of was on the same page in this. He said today, "I don't plan on doing this job for many more years, either of my choosing or your all's choosing." So I think he's very much aware of the landscape, the temperature in the room, all of that, and that he wants to get things moving in the right direction before his time is up for whatever reason. So I don't know what the next step is. It's a long-range process, certainly, at Virginia Tech. But at least they do understand there is a problem and that they are behind, their rival in Virginia, their peer schools in the ACC, and the rest of the national landscape in college athletics, whether that's, the big boys who are eventually probably going to break away in the Big Ten and the SEC, or it's the, whatever the Pac-12 is, or, whatever, that they need to be up in the upper quadrant rather than the bottom quadrant when it comes to resources and money and how they gain that capital to do the things they need to do to be competitive. So keep an eye on that moving forward as well. But, this was one of those days that'll be circled on the calendar, internally at least, at Virginia Tech. Break for us. On the other side, Jordan joins us for our ESPN Richmond auto racing coverage, brought to you by the Insurance Doctor. We'll take you out the Richmond Raceway next on the Sports Huddle.
Hey, it's Crash Gladys from Speed Freaks. Are you still paying full price for gas? Stop leaving money behind. Get real cash back every time you fill up with the free Upside app. Simply download the free Upside app in the App Store or Google Play right now and start earning cash at the pump today. Use limited time promo code SUMMER and get an extra 25 cents back per gallon on your first fill-up. Listeners are making $200 to $300 a year just from buying the gas they already needed. Don't wait. Download the free Upside app now and use promo code SUMMER to redeem your 25 cent per gallon bonus. That's promo code SUMMER. Yeah, at first I thought it was too good to be true, but it's completely legit. Plus, you can cash out anytime. Don't let this offer drive on by. Download the free Upside app now by using limited time promo code SUMMER. That's promo code SUMMER for a limited time 25 cents per gallon bonus. Offers vary by user and location. Go to upside.com for terms and conditions.
Adam Schefter here for Vivid Seats, your ultimate destination for all your sports and concert needs this summer. With a game-changing rewards program and an unbeatable selection of tickets, they make it easy for every fan to watch their favorite teams and players in action. Catch every home run and thrilling comeback in person from your favorite seat. Plus, every ticket is backed by a 100% buyer guarantee, giving you peace of mind with every purchase. Visit VividSeats.com or download the app today. Vivid Seats, the official ticketing partner of ESPN.
Every great team has its core players, but when the season gets tough, adding the right free agent can make all the difference. The same goes for business. At Robert Half, we found that 67% of companies surveyed plan to increase their use of contract talent to handle workload peaks and backlogged projects. With Robert Half's specialized recruiters experience, combined with our award-winning AI, you can quickly find the skilled candidates you want. At Robert Half, we know talent. Discover how we can help at roberthalf.com/talent.
It's bow time. Sure, you've had a sausage biscuit before, but have you had the smoked sausage biscuit from Bojangles? Well, now is your chance. Juicy, slow-cooked smoked sausage is grilled to perfection and served on a fluffy, made-from-scratch buttermilk biscuit. No one does breakfast like Bojangles, and this smoked sausage biscuit doesn't disappoint. Right now, you can get 2 for just $5. Start your day with this flavor-packed deal while it lasts. It's bow time.
This is a special notice to U.S. taxpayers owing $10,000 or more to the IRS. Tax Relief Advocates is urgently notifying taxpayers that tax relief initiatives are now available that may significantly reduce or eliminate what you owe. If you're afraid of an IRS lien, levy, or wage garnishment, don't lose hope. You can now take advantage of these current relief programs to end all collections, reduce the amount you owe, and resolve your tax problem. Even if you have years of unfiled tax returns or are already in a payment plan, you may still qualify for significant relief. Struggling taxpayers can now get relief they need during these hard economic times. A hotline has been established by Tax Relief Advocates for you to call and see what you qualify for. They are A+ rated with the BBB and have over 1,000 5-star reviews. Don't wait. Call 800-575-7147. 800-575-7147. That's 800-575-7147 or simply visit TRA.com.
Must qualify for enrollment. Results may vary.
When your sink suddenly springs a leak, or the tub stops draining, or the toilet stops flushing, it's surprising. You know what shouldn't be surprising? The price you pay to fix it. That's why Robinson's Plumbing Service promises no surprise pricing. What they quote you is what you pay. With thoroughly background check technicians, Robinson's Plumbing Service is here when you need them, with no surprises. And they guarantee all labor and materials supplied by them for 2 years. Now hiring experienced service technicians. RobinsonsPlumbingService.com.
Stuck off the field? 106.1 ESPN's got your back. Stream every debate, score, and highlight on the 106.1 ESPN app. Download today and stay in the game.
Monday afternoon, it's time for our 106.1 ESPN Richmond's auto racing coverage right here in the capital city this week. Brought to you by the Insurance Doctor. Visit myinsuranceDoctor.com to get a quote from one of their 8 locations in the Richmond-Chesterfield area for peace of mind on and off the track. As promised, let's take you out to that track. It's Richmond Raceway Saturday night under the lights.
Listen to that crowd. They know it's time to bring the action. Some Saturday night short track racing. Let's go. The Cookout 400 here in Richmond is underway. It was controversy right here where there was contact with Joey Logano, contact with Denny Hamlin. There's no contact this year. It's all Austin Dillon. He's going to the playoffs.
Let's go, baby.
Daddy, let's go! Austin Dillon wins in Richmond.
Austin, the way it all played out last year, how important was it for you to come back in front of the sellout crowd and do it the right way?
Man, that feels good. I really wanted that one. Last year hurt really bad, just going through the whole process of it. But this one feels so sweet. And, man, I love Richmond. Didn't feel great. I'm actually racing with a broken rib right now for the last 2 weeks. And, man, that was awesome.
Why Richmond? What is it about this place that makes you come alive?
Tire management. I probably am the slowest to get going on some of these tracks when it really comes to high grip. But when it comes to these places and taking care of your stuff, I'll go against the best of them.
So here's what I get out of all of this is we bring Jordan into our motor racing coverage, and he was there. He can certainly give us an eyewitness account. Jordan, I feel like NASCAR needed this. They needed an Austin Dillon, one race to go in the regular season, kind of shakes up the playoff field a little bit. NASCAR needed this moving into the last week, and Richmond needed this as well, to show out in the way that it did on Saturday night. Your thoughts?
Oh, yeah, I completely agree. I would consider it sort of a popular win in a way. I know that Austin Dillon gets a lot of hate because he is Richard Childress's grandson.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So there's a lot of, it's a nepotism type of thing. But yeah, I mean, what more can you say? I mean, he led the second most laps of the night. And it just seems like he said, it's just something about Richmond that suits him, suits RCR and their cars so well. And it was quite a performance. And really, even going back to last year, Austin was was leading in a dominating fashion before a late race caution came out that set the table for his controversial finish last year. Whereas this year he was back in the saddle, he had like a 3-second lead over Ryan Blaney. He had the race in hand, and even RC in the post-race press conference, he said when that white flag came out, I had a big old exhale because I knew at that point it was pretty much done. So yeah, it was awesome. It was a really great weekend. We had nice weather. It was hot for August, typical of the weather here this time of year. And the fans came out, fully supported this race weekend. I mean, and I brought it up on Friday. Denny Hamlin was asked on Friday, what can Richmond do to potentially earn its second race weekend back? And Denny flat out said, you got to sell it out. You got to pack this place and really send the message to NASCAR that they want and deserve a second date again. And, Lori Warren went out on stage for driver intros and announced that they had a sellout. So that was really amazing. Kudos to her and her entire team that put on the race weekend and promoted the heck out of it, got people to buy tickets, and the fans came and showed up. The fans desperately wanted Saturday night racing to return to Richmond because, the last several years, all the cup races have taken place on a Sunday afternoon where, in the height of the heat and everything. So, it was a nice way, and for Austin Dillon to win it in a non-controversial fashion. I even asked Richard Childress, I kind of put it as, because he was asked before me about Dale Earnhardt Sr., because this was the first race that the 3-car led over 100 laps since Dale Earnhardt won the 1998 Daytona 500. And so I followed up on that and was just like, okay, last year we kind of got the old Dale Earnhardt intimidator. I didn't mean to wreck him, just wanted to rattle his cage sort of thing. Whereas this year, Austin Dillon dominated. He raced Ryan Blaney clean and hard for 15, 20 laps in the final stage. There was no ambiguity, no cloud over this win for Austin Dillon. And I think I like to think that Richmond is a Dale Earnhardt sort of town in terms of the race fan base. So to see the number 3 end up in victory lane in Richmond was probably icing on the cake for a lot of fans. There was a guy who appeared to have had some adult beverages, standing around victory lane, just yelling, "Throw your 3s up for Dale Sr." And so I like to think that this was a popular win in Richmond,
no doubt,
for sure. And so it was just really, really great. I mean, what more can I say? We got a little bit of everything. There was beating and banging. It was tire strategy. It was what more could you want or ask for in a NASCAR race? And the fans got it at Richmond Raceway on Saturday night. So with Austin Dillon's win now, turning the attention to the points, there are now 2 available playoff positions, 15th, because Austin Dillon is the 14th different winner this season. So Tyler Reddick and Alex Bowman are currently occupying 15th and 16th. And then you have Chris Buescher, Ryan Preece, Kyle Busch, and Ty Gibbs on the outside looking in. And there's enough gap between Bowman and Buescher that the only way Buescher, Preece, Busch, and Gibbs get in to the playoffs is if they win on Saturday night at Daytona. So, but I should caveat that if there is a new winner, so again, if any of the four drivers outside the top 16 ends up winning, then Alex Bowman could very likely be bumped out, and Tyler Reddick would end up in the 16th place in the playoffs. So a lot to keep an eye on, and to put a bow on the Richmond race. I mean, you had Bubba Wallace lead the most laps. He set the fastest lap of the race, and then an arid pit stop late in the race kind of did him in. A wheel came off on pit road. Fortunate that he ended up stopping in sort of in one of Joe Gibbs Racing's pit stalls, and since 2311 Racing and Joe Gibbs Racing sort of have an alliance, being Toyota teams, the 19 crew was able to re-secure that tire and get Bubba out there again. But he despite leading the most laps and having the fastest lap of the race, that issue managed to put him down in 28th place to finish. But fortunately for him, having won the Brickyard 400 a few weeks ago, he is secured into the Cup Series playoffs. So in the Truck Series, on Friday night, the Truck Series regular season concluded, and it was Heim time as our buddy Corey Heim went to victory lane for the 7th time this season. He beat out Ty Majeski and Lane Riggs for the victory. And so we have our 10 drivers who will be in the Truck Series playoffs, which begins in 2 weeks in Darlington. So Corey Heim is the 1 seed, Lane Riggs is 2nd, Chandler Smith is 3rd, Daniel Hemrick 4th, Tyler Ankrum 5th, Ty Majeski 6th, Grant Enfinger 7th, Raja Caruth is 8th, Caden Honeycutt is 9th, and Jake Garcia is 10th. So there's a lot to keep an eye on there. Also in truck news, and I know we're up against time. Matt Crafton is retiring. Ty Majeski is taking over the 88 truck next year in 2026. Also in 2026, O'Reilly Auto Parts will be the title sponsor for what is now the Xfinity Series. Xfinity will remain as a presenting sponsor at the Cup Series level, but O'Reilly Auto Parts will be the new sponsor for the second tier series.
Certainly makes sense.
Yeah,
certainly. I mean, that seems like the right sponsor for something like that. All right, we do have to run, Jordan. Absolutely, great stuff. Remind me on Friday when we reconvene to ask you a little bit more about the night and what it means for Richmond Raceway and the future of racing here in Richmond. So we'll save that for Friday. ESPN Richmond's auto racing coverage brought to you by the Insurance Doctor. Back with our Herman Allen Sports Play of the Week and wrap it up next on the Sports Huddle.
106.1 ESPN Richmond, brought to you by Herman Allen Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling, a premier Lennox dealer. Online at HermanAllenPlumbing.com. High school football under the lights, and Dave & Buster's right there with you. Proud sponsor of our high school football coverage on 106.1 ESPN Richmond. Dave & Buster's and Shore Pump is your post-game destination. Bring the whole team or the whole family. Just bring your appetite. 4001 Brownstone Boulevard in Glen Allen. Dave & Buster's. Eat, drink, play, watch with 106.1 ESPN Richmond, where Richmond talks sports.
More than 1 million Virginians are on their own when it comes to saving for retirement. But now there is a new program to help close the gap and improve financial security for workers across the Commonwealth. Retire Path Virginia is a simple, hassle-free solution for employers and an easy and automatic way for employees to save for the future. To learn more, visit retirepathva.com. That's retirepathva.com. Sponsored by Commonwealth Savers.
Hi, I'm Michael from the Warren Treaty. You know the jingle. Now discover the facts about Ozempic, a GLP-1. Only Novo Nordisk makes FDA-approved Ozempic. Learn about the real thing.
Talk to your healthcare professional today. Call 1-833-OZEMPIC or visit Ozempic.com to view the medication guide and to learn more about Ozempic. Semaglutide injection, 0.5 milligrams.
If you have back-to-school shopping to do, then you should make Macy's your first stop, because Macy's has back-to-school styles from brands like Nike and Jordan, must-have denim from Levi's and Good American, and now Macy's has Abercrombie Kids too. It's all in one place, all at great prices. And here's another reason to come in. If you're already at Macy's and you saved so much, you could stop by the fragrance counter and pick up something for yourself too. The best back-to-school styles are here now at Macy's.
Join Mark Patrick's seminars and lose the weight or stop smoking early bird special, $49.99. Seminars Thursday, August 21st. Comfort Suites at Virginia Center Commons, Glen Allen. Weight loss 5:30 p.m. Stop smoking 8 p.m. Or Saturday, August 23rd, Hilton Garden Inn, Colonial Heights. Weight loss 11 a.m. Stop smoking 2 p.m.
Don't miss the Green Top Outdoor Expo, sponsored by Daniel Defense, the Mid-Atlantic event for hunting, fishing, and outdoor enthusiasts. October 4th and 5th, over 225 vendors featuring GSM, Holiday Barn, Pet Resorts, and Ruger. Details at greentop.com.
You know, not all sports talk is created equal. Some just fits the bill. I'm Jack Fitzpatrick, and every weekday from 8 to 10 a.m. on ESPN Richmond, we're covering the plays, the players, and the passion of the game. If you love sports, this show fits just right.
Last but not least, our Herman Allen Sports Play of the Week, presented exclusively by Herman Allen Plumbing and Cooling, your premier Lennox dealer. As I mentioned, all good things must come to an end. For the Milwaukee Brewers, that means an end to their 14-game winning streak yesterday. But they didn't go down without a fight. They were down 1-0 to the Reds in the ninth inning. They found a way not only to tie it, but take the lead. The Reds found a way to send it into extra innings and then eventually won it. So two of the big plays, the Brewers taking the ninth inning lead and then the walk-off by the Cincinnati Reds, we combine them to bring you our Herman Allen Sports Plays of the Week.
Contreras 0 for 2 with a walk against Pagan. Fly ball, deep left center field, it is gone! William Contreras, a two-run bomb. The Brewers have the lead. This team is unreal.
We're looking for the ground ball to the infield. Matter of fact, they're bringing the outfielders in a little closer. Anything deep, ball game is over.
First pitch is by third. Reds win. Hayes hammers it down the line. Friedel scores. a sweep defeat, and they break the Brewers' longest ever in-season winning streak. It dies at 14.
Oh, but the Milwaukee Brewers didn't die. I can tell you that. That's our Herman Allen Sports Play of the Week, presented exclusively by our friends at Herman Allen Plumbing and Cooling, your premier Lennox dealer. But already a new streak has begun for the Milwaukee Brewers because they're playing a makeup doubleheader today against the Chicago Cubs at Wrigley Field. And the Brewers, man, they were mad that they lost a game. They whipped the Cubs today 7-0. And look, I've been talking about this guy for several weeks now. In all of the talk of Paul Skeens of Pittsburgh and the now injured Zach Wheeler in Philadelphia, he certainly can't win the Cy Young now. Skeens probably can, even with a losing record. Freddie Peralta of the Milwaukee Brewers did it again today, en route to his 15th win of the season, lowered his earned run average to 2.78 in leading the Brewers to the victory this afternoon. Got a lot of support from his teammates, but still, he went the first 6 innings, gave up just 1 hit, struck out 6 more. He's now 15-5 with a 2.78 ERA. Match that, Paul Skeens, because Skeens is pitching tonight for the Pittsburgh Pirates, and we'll see if he can match him. But right now, I'd say Freddie Peralta can be your Cy Young Award winner in the National League for the best team in all of baseball. The Pirates tonight, Skeens on the mound is 7-9 with a 2.13 earned run average. Kevin Gausman, the former Oriole, pitches for the Blue Jays. A couple of former LSU Southeast Conference standouts. Gausman 8-9, 3.79 earned run average. So that's a baseball game to keep an eye on tonight. We'll all be watching the Commanders, right, in their preseason game against the Cincinnati Bengals. By the way, real quick, there was a quick note. I know the music is playing, but Scott Abraham from Channel 7 up there in D.C. tweeted out just a little while ago, Terry McLaurin and Brian Robinson Jr. are not even at the stadium tonight. I don't know what that means, but that's not the greatest look in the world that 2 of the players aren't even there. At least they're not there at 6 o'clock for a game that's still a little ways from starting. But keep that in the back of your mind as well. Do it all over again tomorrow. We'll talk to you tomorrow afternoon. Mashup at 4, Sports Huddle at 5. Jordan, thanks. Russ Huseman was our special guest today from Richmond Football. Braves Baseball coming up later on 106.1 ESPN.
You want a shot at $50,000 in cold, hard cash? Well, Blue Rush just dropped a new sports comp, the NFL Survivor. And the total prize pool, a massive $100,000. First place gets $50,000 straight up. Think you got the picks to survive 20 weeks?
Join now at bullrush.com/ESPN.